Hit the button, man.
The button, man. All right, it says we're live.
Xbox Scarlett.
What is going on, guys? This is Dealer here, back again with yet another RDX podcast. We have a phenomenal group of topics this week, as well as a great panel, and we're going to get into some introductions. Going to get into some shout-outs, and I want to thank everybody who's already here. Thank you so much. We have a great show for you here today. Hey, Cold Eastwood, man, another week, another show. How have you been?
Xbox Scarlett.
I'm doing really good. It's been a super great week and a lot of stuff to talk about. I was just itching for RDX time. Here we are.
Yeah, here we are already. We've also got D-Batch, man. How you been?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it's a really exciting week for gaming. Lots of news. I'm equally excited to get this show started, man. In the pre-show, man, we almost got the show started. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff to talk about today. We've also got xCloud Tim Dog.
Yeah, RDX, we're in the house. Happy to be here. Ready to go.
For some reason, your mic volume decreased in between the pre and the live show.
Oh, we would have blew our air drums out if he did, but
Here, let me turn them up some here.
Turn me up.
We've also got, let me make sure I'm getting the right person. Okay, we've also got Zalker87, brother. How you been?
I'm doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. I can't wait to talk about all these topics. And who's this like little secret agent in here? Who is this guy? I know him before. I've seen him before. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, that kind of leads me to welcoming So Shady to the show, filling in for Fonzarelli this week, man. How have you been, sir?
I've been good, man. You know, I was going to tone this down, but I can't resist. I'm on a road right now that I can't predict. You already know my name, so raise your fist. The return begins. I'm back!
Oh, my God.
Silliness aside, boys, it's good to be back. You've done a hell of a job in my absence. Tim, this is the first show I've got a chance to be with you, man. Great job on the show. I enjoy listening to you guys. I'm excited to be back. I had to pull out my extendable lawn chair. Colt, cue the GIF. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Listening to these topics, man. I'm hyped to be here. I hope you're hyped to hear from me. Let's do it.
Yeah. It's
I'll have what he's drinking. Shit.
That's G Fuel right into my veins.
It's G Fuel right through an IV. It is good to have you back, man, on the show, and to kind of hear your take on some things that have happened since maybe you haven't been here. And for those in the chat that are, I don't want anybody to have made their mind up about anybody. As everyone here that's listening already knows, like we've been cool with Shady. And since then, some people have said some things and, that are in the chat and stuff. And I just want you guys to give kind of a clean slate, let everybody speak and kind of take them for what they say. Forget about things that happened in the past that you may not have liked on the show, and just kind of, listen to the panel and let us know your feedback maybe afterwards. But, I got a lot of confidence that Shady is, this is Shady 2.0, man. He's going to be even better.
I'm feeling good, baby.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. Actually, it's my return to podcasting. I just had a surgery a little over a month ago, so I've been out of the scene, and this is my first show back altogether, so it's kind of fitting that it starts where it all began for me, man. I'm excited, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
how was that reduction? Did it go pretty well?
I was tired of dragging that monster around. It was getting in the way.
I'm talking about big ass skin tag. So again, thanks to everyone that's checking us out. We're already over 300 watching, guys. Hit that like button as we drag ourselves into some shout outs in the first topics. We have a ton of great topics today, and we got a lot of Microsoft stuff to talk about, which is always great. That's what we prefer to talk about. So bear with us. We got a ton of great topics. We'll kind of let people filter in as I give some shout outs and stuff like that. So I want to start with, and first and foremost, I want to thank everyone who checked out my last video. I lost a few supporters over it, a couple channel members over it, because I guess they didn't really watch the video. They kind of looked at the title. But what I got to say is, like, if you're really looking at that title, which is the title of the article that I'm destroying, right, which a lot of people like that video, and think that that's me, then you obviously don't know me very well. Like, I'm just myself. Like, I prefer Xbox. It is what it is. Like, I had a couple comments like, "Are you flip flopping?" It's like, in the first 5 seconds, I tell you what the video's about. I mean, there's a naked Arnold Schwarzenegger on the screen in the first 5 seconds. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was very hard to not.
Wait, how does the naked Arnold Schwarzenegger vilify you?
I said I think I finally found out who sent the Terminator back through time, right? And had Schwarzenegger.
Oh, right.
and I'm talking about what culture or whatever, right? And then this thing. But yeah, there's a few people like, what are you doing? Are you flopping? It's like, seriously, it's in the first 5 seconds. Like, I'm replying to this article. And people
great video.
My flippity flop tweet there, just in case people didn't get the joke.
I know, right? So I mean, I'm just saying, like, there were a couple guys that kind of left the channel because of that, and it's it surprises me they don't know me better. But shout out to everyone who watched that video, supported that video, spent like 14 hours editing that fucking thing. So glad everyone checked it out, and I got to give a big shout out to the patrons that are in the shout out tier. I'm getting a scroll thingy at the bottom, and also a badass layout coming. Thanks to Sean Labrie, working on that. So I'm spending a lot of money on that, letting him, animate all that and bring it to life. And I'll have a scroll wheel for every patron of mine, where this list here is just for those that are getting the verbal shout out and stuff like that. It's the least I can do. I'll have that scroll thing coming in as well and learn how to do all that stuff. But got to give a shout out to Friendly Combat, and keep in mind this list refreshes every month. So if you're not a patron now, try to do it by the first of the month. It'll refresh for the next month. But Friendly Combat, we've also got John Blue, we got Darth Chaos, we got Nerdy Meathead, Prython, Vec Boss, Deviator X, Obi-Wan FTW, one of my moderators, Tasteless Genie. We've also got Scout Trooper 74, Centurion 1307. I'm pretty sure it's 1307. Maybe that's the 6, I don't know. But check out legionofgamer.com nonetheless. Black, Real Deal Neil, Suicide King, The Darge Knight, the brother overseas there. Michael Bowen, Guillermo Cavillo, the legend there. Chanagram. Yes, we changed it to Chanagram instead of Channing Pennington. Wilmy Hood, Bad Boy Live. Just talked to him on Xbox Live a couple days ago. Naughty Nubbin. We also got Alfonso Hogan. Shout out to you. A Squad Gaming, who's killing it right now on YouTube. Slim Killer 73 and Mo Cool Kid. If you want to join this list, hit that Patreon up for the first of the month. And thank you guys so much. We do giveaways and stuff every month. And first and foremost, real quick, I'll spend a few seconds on this. I was sent a copy of Ghost Recon. What was this?
Wildlands.
Yeah, I know, right? Ghost Recon Breakpoint Gold Edition for review. And I contacted them and asked if I could just throw this footage up on my podcast and kind of give my impressions there. And they said that would be perfectly fine. So I'm going to let you guys know kind of real quick about Ghost Recon Breakpoint. The footage you see on screen here, captured on Xbox One X. It is, this game is hit or miss, I'll tell you that. So what I'll say, and I'm a positive person usually when it comes to gaming, what I'll say is that if you are a fan of Wildlands, you'll probably really love this game, despite its glitches and wonky controls and animations. You'll probably really love it, but this is perhaps the worst, hour something of gameplay you'll find. I'll throw that out there. We're kind of getting used to it.
When's that footage come up, dealer, where you have to buy some ammo, a new scope, a helmet, some knee pads? You just buy everything with real world money. Isn't that how this game works?
No, I don't think so, actually.
No.
Oh, so that's fake news?
Is A Squad in the chat?
Monetized game in history of AAA, I thought. No.
Oh, man.
Is A Squad? Yeah, A Squad's in the chat. I just want to say, hey, I watched your video. He covered like the patch notes, which covered some of the control problems that we had the other day. A Squad's got a great channel. Go check it out. Go give him a sub. Really like clean, well done channel. There are really enjoyable moments. I mean, it's not my review, but we've had some enjoyable moments, like when we're surgically taking out a base. Like, we're having a good time, but when we get spotted, the fun kind of disappears because you get lit up.
Well, there's other issues, and I don't want to sit here on this topic for too long. But A Squad does say digging the gameplay right in my wheelhouse. I just got to mention it to you. Yeah, again, if you're into Ghost Recon Wildlands, I can't imagine that you would hate this game. But to me, I think it needs some more polish and stuff like that. Just kind of take it for what it is. Again, just wanted to give my quick impression so we can get that out of the way.
Rand said, say what you really mean about the game, dealer. I got the tapes.
Rand, you're a fraud. You're still using tapes. So yeah, again, just be careful. If you're not sure about the game, maybe wait for a sale. But again, I don't usually sit here and bitch and rag about games forever. So we'll go ahead and move on to perhaps our first subject, Randall Thor. We'll go ahead and do that, which is Mike Ybarra leaving Xbox, which had some people freaked out. After 20 years, Mike Ybarra has left Xbox, and he has a new job. He's got a new opportunity. I talked to Mike for quite a while after this happened. I talked to Mike after all this happened. He DM'd me, and he does actually want to come back on the show and stuff after he gets his new job. So keep that in mind. But for now, yeah, he's left Xbox. Not really going to talk about anything to do with his new job. But Tim, was this kind of surprising to you?
Yeah, it completely. I'm sorry. It completely took me by surprise. I had known something was up because I actually was talking to Mike the day before, and he kind of made a comment, and at the time I was like, oh, maybe this is Xbox, the new news, or they're gonna, answer something. They're gonna talk about Scarlett, and I actually I'd reached out to you dealer, and I said, keep your eyes open. Well, little did I know, little did I know it was going to be that. And when it first happened, I was kind of in shock, and then it took a little time to like really realize what happened and what set in. Like he's a great guy for Xbox. He was always treated me like a person, and he everyone. There's good and bad in everyone, but I think with Mike, he was just a driven guy, and he was great for Xbox. And it's a big loss for Xbox, but the good thing is that he's still going to be in the industry. He's still going to be our friends. He'll come on here, and maybe he could talk a little bit more now.
He can say what he really means,
what he really feels and stuff like that, because. When you got to watch what you say when you're within Xbox and stuff for obvious reasons. But it was a shock, and like I said, it was like it took me by surprise. But in the end, I'm happy for Mike, and I know wherever he goes, he's going to be awesome for them.
Yeah.
Was he a CEO of?
He was vice president. Of like software services or something like that.
Okay, cool.
He was on a high position.
Yeah, he was a high position.
I'm sure that wherever he's going, he's going to be even higher position.
He was also a man of the people. Like he always interacted with fans, and he was a little bit outspoken. Compared to the Microsoft way, if you look at a lot of the stuff that he said, he basically said what was on his mind most of the time. I know, of course, some of the reins had to be pulled in because you can't just say anything, but he was really a man of the people, and this is going to be a huge loss. A lot of people really liked him, and like I was surprised, like even the ops, Sony guys were even saying, "Wow, that's a big loss." He was really good for them.
He was a man of the people, man. Last time I saw Mike, I looked over and the motherfucker was in a robe handing out some bread. Yeah, I mean, seriously, Mike was one of the few executives, and I said this on Twitter, that actually played a lot of hardcore games. Whether or not I'm a big fan of Destiny, things like that is irrelevant, but the guy played games, and we know things about Mike. We know things about Mike's philosophy as an executive, like him or not, because he does come off certain ways to certain people. He was an actual gamer, and he actually pushed for hardcore games inside of Microsoft, and I respect that a lot. So, real quick, S. Vitamin says, awesome to see you so Shady back. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Shady, what is your take on Mike leaving the company?
It was a surprise, but you're telling me this wasn't some crazy inner turmoil. He's thrown out. Xbox is shutting down. I have to go back out in the rack and get it out of my garbage. I tossed out the machine, sold my account, all of it. You're saying that's untrue? He just
selling your account. It's not legal, Shady. I wouldn't advise that.
Jeez, well, you got me. It was a surprise, but it doesn't come off the same way that, say, when Sean Layton left, because the guy's just gone dark.
Not even the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, he's found another opportunity. Why not take it? It's as simple as that. How many people work the same job? Everyone here still working their first job when they were 16? I mean, it's got to be, right? How could you not? So I don't think it's a bad thing. It's a little bit shocking. I personally enjoyed Mike Ybarra. Like you, I liked how he was kind of a hardcore gamer, and he games a lot, plays a lot, and was pushing for those, AAA type games. Sorry to see him go, but I wish him the best. Simple as that.
Yeah, and the Sean Layden thing, that's something that I was looking at, is like when Mike left, like Phil Spencer said, good luck with everything, blah, blah, blah. Like, a lot of the people that are high up in Xbox fared well. Like they all like acknowledged, like, hey man,
Mhm.
good shit what you've done here over the years. Kind of like that. When Sean Layden left, it was like fucking silence. No
Yeah,
one
man.
said anything.
It
It
just
was
seemed
like
very amicable.
nothing happened. He was never here.
You looked over
Like,
and you
they're
saw
gonna-
Sean
pretty soon-
Layden in the trash can putting the lid on over his head. You know, like
We're gonna go back and look at
What was that
freaking
text?
E3s from Sony 2 years ago, and they're gonna edit him out, and it's just gonna be nothing walking on stage. That's how bad it was. Like they're gonna like
they
do it like
CG
they
his
did that
face and
display.
arms out, like his
Yeah.
hands. It's
Yeah.
just a suit.
What was the official
Sean
reply?
who?
Wasn't it with great regret or something they said?
with great emotion.
Yeah, great emotion.
It was with great emotion that Zalker was on the show that week. I remember.
It was.
Hey,
It
so
was.
Soulbor or Cellbor says, do you notice that people are saying Sony are the first? Yeah, I notice that people are like, there's so much talk about around the PS5, and I get that Sony, and Mark Cerny in particular, are going out and they're letting some journalists mess with some things. Well, here's our haptic triggers. Yeah, those are rumble triggers. If you listen to what he said, the same thing as rumble triggers, right? You got a lot of people saying that's not the same thing. It is, trust me. So, you know, they are kind of going out and letting journalists, handle this thing and give them some information. I get that, but at the same time, if you're going to act like Sony or the first one's talking about ray tracing like IGN were the other day, I think that's kind of ridiculous. Like, you can do it. I see that they've talked about Scarlett before, of course, but nothing like they are with the PS5. And I feel like Microsoft have been pretty transparent from the beginning about some of the capabilities there. I think it's kind of ridiculous, Cellbor. So trust me, I hear you, man.
I don't know. There's just something with Sony that the media just loves. Like when they announced that news, like sites that don't even cover that shit were covering it. Like I actually saw it on CNN's homepage. They were talking about the PlayStation 5. I was like, holy shit. It was everywhere. Now this goes to show you the mind share that Sony has. Now I know this generation's pretty much over. We're gonna start a new generation. But Microsoft, step your game up. Marketing, it makes a difference. Just show us a little bit of the game. You don't have to show us much of it, or even just say you're working on the fucking game. But you need to have a different approach next generation, because marketing works, and you need mindshare. We need mindshare for the brand.
That and come out and
I
crush
see
stuff, you know.
Mindshare- the only time I really do see Mindshare come out with Xbox, and we can all agree, and I hope we do, is when something like Halo comes out. A game like Halo is like where I see it fucking everywhere, and everybody knows about it. That's the only time I see equal mindshare across all like the international and everything news sites.
You're not worried
Sony
that the
just has that for
mindshare.
their system. Sony has that for their system, though. It's international, and we can't deny that, right? They've marketed the shit out of it. It's been around for decades. People know what it is. So it doesn't surprise me when something like PlayStation 5 comes out and CNN has a big article on it. And trust me, we all read them. Everybody in here, we click and read them because we like keeping up to date on stuff. But that's something Xbox needs to work on. And I think this last generation really hurt them from establishing something like that, which Sony has.
Shady, were you saying something?
I was just going to say, it comes to me when the mind share of Xbox gets shared, it seems to be like concern, what they need to do. You know, Gears got a lot of mind share, but a lot of that was how it needs to be different. It wasn't hype as much as it was concern. And I think that's what Xbox need to address as much as, if not even more so than trying to get more mind share, is try and make the mind share you have become positive and not semi-negative at all times.
Yeah. You know what I'm doing, Shady? I'm looking at the chat. I'm seeing these glorious channel member badges. And I want to thank all the channel members, including the newest one, Philly Eagle. I feel like I've said that before, honestly, but maybe not. But I do appreciate it, Philly. Thank you so much, man. To all of the channel members, if you didn't know, if you missed last week, we do have a bunch of new emojis that Cody drew up. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. We've got a lot of pretty unique stuff. Always taking feedback on that as well. But we did get kind of thrown off on that subject. It is kind of ridiculous, but we'll see how Microsoft tackle that. Mike Ybarra left, man. I mean, Colt, I'll kind of wrap it up with your final thoughts on Ybarra leaving. I know you kind of talked to him and stuff behind the scenes a little bit. I know you were a little bit surprised by this as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's really cool. Like you said, he plays games like a ton. But, you know, as cool as he is, they'll just bring somebody in and replace him. He'll go somewhere that he wanted to go. It sounds to me like he found a place that gave him an offer, and it was the time to go. And, yeah, I mean, I'm all right with it. And they'll just bring somebody else in.
All right.
I mean, I don't know, but the cool he said he'll come on our show, and you know, like being able to come on the show and talk about his experience and not feel like he has to be as careful to talk about stuff. It'll be a lot better. And in the end, Mike Ibarra isn't just somebody that worked for Microsoft. And then he'll be somebody who's worked in the industry for 20 plus years. He has the experience of working with Microsoft and Xbox. And if he gets to talk to us on the show, it'll be really cool for everybody to hear.
Well, this is what I would say about Mike. The guy's really cool. He came on the show. He talked with us. He's always interacted with everybody. Deep down, after 20 years, he's always going to be an Xbox guy. That's just what it is, right? And he's always going to be welcome here. And, this isn't like doom and gloom horse shit. The guy has another opportunity, and that's what it is. And he's done great for Xbox for 20 whatever years he was there. And you know what? Hats off to him, dude. You deserve whatever you can get. And good job, bud.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. I got to give a shout out to my fantastic moderators here, Lethal Pampa and Obi-Wan FTW, always cracking skulls with some tiny hammers. We've also got Jesse Darby in the chat. We've got Play 4, PS5. I mean, either way. I mean, it works how it works.
Super chat, I think it's gone.
Maybe I'll kind of scroll to that, but I want to give shout outs to just people in the chat. Dreadpool. We've also got NASCAR Aloe. As always, Timothy Clark. We've got Mateo as well, Shoguns, all of you guys, including another new channel member, Digital Loot Shooter. Thank you so much, sir, for what you do. So, again, Mike Ibarra is out. He said, fuck y'all, I'm out. No, he didn't. But he's on to bigger and better things. I think he will be happy with what he's doing. It'll be very interesting to see what he has to say after he comes back from all this. But again,
do you know, did he tell you what he's doing? Like, are you inside?
We're not going to talk about any of that, Shady. We're going to go ahead.
Okay, fair enough.
Sorry, Shady, you're breaking up for a minute there.
Yeah. It's
deploy the ninjas.
He'll be happy. But also, shout out to everybody watching, almost 700 already watching this live, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's try to get to 300 for the end of the show, 1,000 plus after the fact. It really helps more than you know. Share this out. If you got a buddy that's into this kind of stuff, Xbox related stuff like this, maybe show them, help us grow a little bit. Also, we've got some Game Pass user number updates. I thought this was very interesting. We kind of touched on this a little bit last week. We didn't have all the details. Now we do, where the Oxenfree developer comes out and says, look, we've sold 1 million copies. The game has gotten 3 million downloads in Xbox Game Pass alone, right? Now, I got a question for you, D-Match, if you're there. What percentage of Game Pass subscribers do you actually think downloaded a game like Oxenfree? It couldn't be nearly even 50% with 200 plus games in there, could it?
No, I would say just for the sheer nature of Game Pass, I would say maybe 20% downloaded.
So what do you?
If 20% of that number is 3 million, shit.
I mean, they're saying that they got downloaded 3 million times in Game Pass. I mean, think about it. There's no way every person in Game Pass, not even a fraction of them, downloaded little old Oxenfree, right?
I got an idea. Everybody in the chat, if you downloaded Oxenfree, put 1.
Now remember though, Oxenfree was available with Games with Gold as well, meaning that even less people downloaded Oxenfree in Game Pass.
Oh my gosh!
So
yeah,
that's true.
I didn't download it.
I think what you can take away. I think what you can take from that is, Game Pass numbers are probably very high. They might be close to 10 million.
I mean, they're saying
I didn't think that they would get that close until like Halo. But when you have 3 million people, let's say 30% did it, that's 10 million. You know what I mean? That would be the way you break it down.
Seems insane though, Tim. You really think 10 million, huh?
I would think. See, I think that they might have had 10 million, but you had drop off. So I honestly feel like I've always said this. Like I kind of feel like they're at like 6-7 million, probably active. But I do feel like if they did hit 10 million, or they do have 10 million active Game Pass users, they're going to use it, or they're going to announce it, or they really should. They should be transparent with the Game Pass, the members and stuff like that. We have never gotten a number. We've never gotten a number once.
Well, how weird is that 3 million people downloaded Oxenfree, but then they said they had 3 million people playing Gears 5 the opening weekend? Like,
I have a theory on that, actually. I downloaded Oxenfree through Game Pass. I also game share and have auto download on the other Xbox. So I technically account for 2 copies that were downloaded. It came off of the one I use, and then my buddy's Xbox, which is my home Xbox. So 2 copies on just my end of downloading it. So that could be happening a lot, which, maybe there's 1.5 million that downloaded it, and they all game share. So that's why there's 3 million
So let's cut
downloads.
that in
doesn't
half.
always
Let's cut that in half and say that every person that downloaded that exact scenario happened, which we know for a fact most people in game share. Most people don't game share. They don't even know how to do it or what it is. It's really just the super hardcore there.
That's right.
Even 1.5 million downloads, and let's say that's 20%, which I still think is high. That's still a lot of people subscribe to Game Pass. I mean,
it is. It's huge. And I also think the reason, well, one of the reasons, other than Microsoft doesn't talk numbers, as we know, one of the reasons we're not getting subscription numbers for Game Pass is because the numbers might actually be up and down huge. One month they have 9 million, the next month it drops down to 7. And that news instantly makes it look like it's dead. People are fleeing the service. Don't bother. So they're, instead of any of that, they just keep it to themselves. And if it goes down to 7, maybe it goes back up to 8 next month and then trickles its way back up to a 9 or a 10 when Halo approaches. But I think the numbers vary month to month a lot from people jumping in for the month and quitting. So it's difficult to give without negative news kind of coming with it when the numbers do go down.
I can also say that on PC, surprisingly, Game Pass is ahead. PC players really love Game Pass. And you know, PC guys are kind of cheap, so they see the value in it.
Oh,
because
shit.
there's a lot of fucking games in it. Like, I don't know if it's probably in our list of topics, but you know, The Outer Worlds is coming out soon, and that is a Game Pass game. Like,
Yes,
it's a great service, man.
Yep, it sure is. Adam Opentree says, "Hey, I wanted." He says, "So hey, I wanted to update 3 million combined with Epic and free giveaways. Not all 3 were from Game Pass, but it did help." I don't know.
I heard 3 million downloads from Game Pass,
the
and then it
quote
went
was,
on to sell like 4 or 5 million in total, something big. Like, it's helped this
The
game.
quote was for 3 million downloads for Game Pass, Adam. So I don't know what that's all about, but either way, it's something to consider. Shout out to Bad Boy Live as well, who's in the chat. We got Z Black Rider, of course, Buzzy for you two, MXD, the Ashen Luca, who's got her mod powers in full force, Marco, and of course, all of you guys, thank you so much. But just something to consider, right? We're not making a claim on the number here, but it is something to think about. 3 million downloads on Game Pass alone. I think a very small percentage of people on Game Pass even downloaded Oxenfree. Add to that it was a Games Ago free title as well. Most people already had it. Most had access to it as well. So something
Real
to
quick,
think
Taylor,
about.
the article that I saw this in originally also said that being in Game Pass helped Oxenfree sell more copies on other platforms, which basically translates to, like, you go to your buddy's house who has Game Pass, so you try a game for next to nothing, enjoy it, go home and buy it on your PS4 or your PC. So they're just like, having it over there helped the game everywhere.
But Shady,
like,
what you don't understand though is no matter how many times we tell people that Game Pass increases sales, as Microsoft have already confirmed, they still don't believe anybody, even the guys who, I mean, developer after developer comes out, we sold 4 times more copies. They smack the fuck out of that guy and walk past me and say it don't help. I don't understand.
Like, this is the first time I've ever heard it say like it actually trickled down to other platforms.
Yeah.
Rival platforms saw an increased sales because of what Xbox is doing with their
Hold on,
service.
hold on. There's a correction. Hold on, there's a correction. There's a correction. Adam Opentree in the super chat said that the dev clarified later that he meant that it was on all the platforms. But when I saw his correction clarified tweet, he clearly said that there were 3 million on Game Pass. And that was his clarification response, if I read that right. So I don't know where people are getting that. Let me go back to his original comment so we can stay relevant here with what he's
Cue the X-Files music.
Maybe
Holy
did.
shit.
Okay, we'll just top it all off with a grain of salt. How about that? I mean,
I wanted to update that the 3 million combined with Epic and free giveaways, not all 3 million were from Game Pass, but it did help to sell more on other platforms.
Oh, okay.
But I remember seeing the tweet that was referenced where he said, "I'm sorry, I should have been more clear." And in that tweet, which was like 30 words, he said that it had 3 million downloads on Game Pass. So I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
That was also, I don't know. I've seen that report, reiterated a couple of times with the downloads. But one thing I've actually heard, and this is from somebody at Xbox, was that the title that's not in Game Pass compared to a title that's in Game Pass usually gets 3 times the amount of eyes on it than it would be not on Game Pass. So like what Shady was saying, that it's sold on different platforms, makes a lot of sense, because just even being on a Game Pass and you see that game and you know it and you get more eyes on it, it all trickles down, and that's basically, you know, what Game Pass is doing. It's advertisement in a way that, you know, it even though you get the game for free, you have a lot more people see it, people play it, people talk about it more, people buy it. Just like with Rocket League, when it came in the first day, the first week, it was like #1 seller or whatever. It got a ton of sales just for being.
I mean, Rocket League's a perfect example. It was on PS Now, right? People got it for free on PlayStation, and that propelled that game to crazy popularity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened. It's just good business, people.
It's just good business, people. Also, for those wondering what I was doing in the helicopter, one of my ass cheeks was itching, so I had to scoot back and forth until that was no longer the case.
Yeah, but you smashed me with the landing pad of the helicopter. Like, just absolutely smashed me.
Hey, speaking of smashed, let's talk about this journalist who got smashed when they played Death Stranding. Now, for those that don't know, real quick, Fonz isn't here to rant on this damn game this week, but he'll be back next week. Review copies for Death Stranding have already been sent out. Now, historically, we know what this means from Sony, and Rand reiterated this a couple times the other day. Sony usually send out early review copies and have an early review embargo for games they are very confident in. The review embargo, I do believe, lifts on the 1st, right? Which is well before the game launches. Critics already are playing the game right now, and believe it or not, I guess that means historically, Sony are very confident that this game is going to review very well, meaning 90 plus, right? I don't know if that's the case, but looking at the track record, it seems that way. Even Concrete Genie, the review embargo lifted the same day it came out. It was a mid-70, but people don't talk about how trash it is, right? Same for Days Gone. The embargo lifted like that day or something like that, but games that get a lot of high scores, they always come out early, and people are playing it now. And one of those people was a journalist that apparently was too scared to play it, right, Colt?
Yeah. I'm not going to look up who. I thought about looking up who the website was, but I don't like calling out people.
I mean, we're not calling them out. We're just kind of giving the information they were given.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird. She said that she got to sit down and play the game. They put her in the middle of the game somewhere far down the line. They handed her the controller. She wandered around this vast, open, empty world, completely alone, but haunted by some unknown force. And about 15 minutes into the game, she was too frightened to play the game, so she tossed the controller over to her journalist friend that was with her, and he played the remainder of the hour-long demo. And that night, she had a terrible nightmare, and she said, it's going to be the game of the generation.
Wow, yeah. That sounds immersive. Real immersive.
Now wait, but before you grab that and make like a clip about me bashing on PlayStation. Now remember, I'm excited to play this game. I've been the one to say, give it a chance. Kojima has a track record. This game looks very different from anything we've ever played, and it's going to surprise and delight a lot of people. Maybe it'll suck. Maybe it'll be super boring. Maybe it'll be so creepy I never want to play it again. Who knows? But this is how the journalists react.
I'll just wait for you to toss the controller to me after a while.
I'm too scared to after a controller flies through your window and hits you in the face.
Yeah, I got it, bud. No, I don't know. I mean, I know that is good confidence by Sony to bring out the review embargo on November 1st. That does say like, hey, we have confidence in this game. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But the game just, to me personally, just doesn't look fun. It just doesn't look like it's just enjoyable. And then when Kojima said, a few weeks ago, like, yeah, it's meant to be lonely and, kind of slow and all this stuff, it's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Like I was looking forward to Days Gone. That game disappointed me greatly, and hopefully this game doesn't disappoint me because I'm gonna play it. And I don't know. Throwing your controller away because you're too scared to play it, like that doesn't exude confidence for me, honestly.
Hey, Predator H2O says, "Oh my God, dealer! I was about to call you out on this Ghost Recon gameplay. Hey, I addressed it at the beginning of the show. It's gonna be trash. It's like some of the worst gameplay you'll see. We grabbed a random snippet. We grabbed a random snippet." Like everything's off. My sensitivity's off. My helicopter controls are inverted. I can't even fucking fix that. Like I just need to take time to really dial everything in. I've got a decent little chunk of time in the game, but Yeah, it's bad gameplay for the most part, man. I'll admit it. Plus, it's not an easy game to make it look amazing, in my opinion. It's kind of clunky, but
oh yeah, I mean, you have to remember, like in the moment, like Dealer is trying to get a beat on somebody, and I'm shooting someone and have some cool stuff going on my screen, but that's not being shown. And
I had just switched my controls from the custom ones because they were interfering with some other buttons, and I got all the excuses in the world, Predator. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's not great gameplay, bro.
Ass cheek itching, everything.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to Death Stranding, man, it'll be interesting to see how this game does. I said it would probably do like a low 80, based off everything I had seen. We'll see how many critics offer criticism along with their praise as well. I think
Did they say how long it is? Because if they're giving the game,
it says long. It says
maybe they're doing that because it's an extremely long game. And
it's a 25-hour until you get into the real meat of what's the heck's going on. And
oh fuck me,
I can't see this game. I can't see this game getting anything lower than a 90 just because it's Kojima and it's partnered with Sony and they can do no wrong. And
okay, D, you're Mr. Visuals. Like, talk to us about how the game looks, like visually, graphics.
Well, visually, it looks good. There's a few little animations I didn't like when he has the briefcase and he's like, fucking jumping backwards and shit. That kind of looked wonky.
You didn't like the briefcase beatdown?
Nah, man, but that looked really. But for the most part, no. The game graphically is up there, and I can't say a bad thing about Kojima's games graphically. They're all beautiful looking games. Like the game that this was really supposed to be, PT, looked fucking incredible, you know. And Death Stranding, no, the game looks good. It's a looker, and I think that's gonna be enough for a lot of PlayStation gamers because some of them are shallow. They're just for the graphics. They don't care if it's running 22 frames per second as long as it looks pretty, right? So
the Decima engine, right?
Yeah. So I think it's gonna get good, a lot of points for the looks, but the gameplay I'm not too sure on. But still, I think it's gonna get a 90, man.
Straight Hate Gaming says, I guess I'm a little late to how long? Yeah, the podcast has been on for about 30 minutes, but we got plenty of great topics, man. Thanks for joining us, everyone joining us. Thank you so much. We got over 800 watching.
Learn how to fly a helicopter.
Hey,
damn it!
I just told you my controls are inverted on the helicopter. Okay.
Wait, why?
I got to give a shout out to over 800.
Jumping out of it. Oh no!
I got to give a shout out to over 800 people joining us live already. Thank you so much. Hit that like button. Let's try to crush 300 for the end of the show. 1,000 after the fact. Tim Dog sends his best wishes. He loves all of you. Give all of you a foot rub.
The helicopter. Your footage is so funny.
He works magic, dude. He works magic.
Yep.
And a massage.
And a massage. So Death Stranding is what it is. Apparently, I think Sony are quite confident in the game. So does Rand. They usually do that with games that they send out the copies this early. The embargo comes out on the 1st, I think, which means they're probably pretty confident in it as well. And I guess we will have to see. xCloud beta impressions, real quick. We've got some hands-on time with xCloud. Some of us on the panel here. Also, our good friend Obi-Wan FTW, who's put up a lot of videos of him playing xCloud on Twitter. If you haven't followed him, follow him there. But yeah, I've got some quotes from him, and kind of I know Colt hasn't had the most fantastic experience because his router and his signal strength and all that. But I'm sure Colt can throw in a few words here real quick too. But in terms of the beta impressions, Obi-Wan does say that it's basically unplayable on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi for him. That being the 2.4 gigahertz band.
They said you have to have minimum 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi.
Yeah, is microwave on though the whole time? Yeah. 2.4 has a lot of interference compared to the 5G, right?
Yeah, it does. But this is just the beginning of his feedback. He says it's unplayable on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. He also says that 5 gigahertz was night and day difference and played great. And I believe him because we've got several videos of him testing it in both non-hectic and very hectic scenarios, which really wouldn't make a ton of difference because signal, right? He basically says sometimes you would get an occasional lag spike, but basically it was no big deal. It's also still in beta, keep that in mind. He played for an hour over Verizon Cellular, and Jeez. It was decent over Verizon Cellular. And again, the whole point of these betas is to kind of phone this stuff in. Colt, you're also in the preview program for this xCloud, and what is your experience so far?
It's not good, which kind of bums me out. I'm in talks with somebody at the helm to figure out what the problem is with mine, because I have 16. I can't use Wi-Fi at 2 locations that I'd like to try it out. One is at home, because both Wi-Fi routers are the 2.4 gigahertz, and you have to have 5 gigahertz. That's the requirement. That's the minimum requirement. So I can't use Wi-Fi, but on mobile data, I have 16 megabits per second down and 9 up. So I far surpass the requirement of 10, and the game is completely unplayable. The game, I've tried Gears 5 and Halo 5, and both of them are like completely unplayable. I can only have it on for about 5 seconds before I shut it off and go, yeah, this just isn't working.
But there are other people with like even lower speeds than that are managing to play just
higher.
fine.
I talked to somebody on Twitter who has like 300 megabits per second, and he's getting completely unplayable results. So there's some kind of bug or some kind of problem or interference or something that they're going to be working out. This is the first day. I tried this last night and this morning. So we're on the first real day of xCloud. And the person I talked to at xCloud said that they would put in a bug report for me and find out why. He knows where I live because I live in Washington State. He knows where I'm at. He knows Verizon in that location. He said I should be golden, but something's just not working right.
Obviously, it's something in the software, because there are people with far less speed than you that are having a great
Oh, yeah.
time
I mean, Obi-Wan is in Washington somewhere as well, and he's on the same network. And I watched him play in Halo, and he's like, and me, I'm like, this is me like, click. Nope. What the crap?
Yep.
And I know people are reporting. It's funny, people are reporting the worst case scenario, but what I'm hearing is the mass majority of people are like, this is a game changer. This is awesome. Thurat, the people that work with Brad Sams, they put out a little article and said they had a few little problems. The game takes like 30 seconds to boot up on xCloud, which was same for me to make the connection and make the handshake and come up. And then you're on the menu on your phone. I'm like, wow, this is so great. He said that it was running great. Very little latency. So yeah,
would you say that it is a beta for a reason? And
it's preview program.
A lot of people are having fun, but some are having issues, right?
Yeah, I feel bad for people that are like me that it's not working, but there's also people who wish they could get in the invite. We'll see what happens. Sucks.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, we've got a lot of great experiences, a lot of videos out there of it working great. And of course,
I got to say one more thing. I really encourage, I've sent about 5 different feedback reports. I tried it like 5 times and it didn't work. I put super low stars. I wrote what my situation is and what my experience was. And I really would encourage Xbox, xCloud fans, just gaming fans that are trying this are invited, be completely honest. Let them know how the experience is, good or bad, so that Microsoft can work right away to make it a better experience. Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah, they didn't let you in a beta so you could damage control it to them, you know?
Yes, please.
No, I just want to say, like, I've confidence that both Google and Microsoft have, basically found the antidote to crack the code of this latency game when it comes to playing them, basically. So I'll know it's there when I see my first video of like 100+ hit Shadow Cancel, Double Ultra, and Killer Instinct. Then I'll know that the latency is fine. If you can play Killer Instinct and pull off big combos, it's going to be just fine in a fighter
it's called the key, the cure, right? To the latency. It's called negative latency according to Stadia.
Oh my
and
God.
These guys are saying the dumbest shit that I've ever heard. They're saying that Stadia will have better latency than consoles, local hardware. No, it won't. They're saying now that they're coming up with something called negative latency, where they use AI to predict what you're going to do. Fuck it, I'm letting the robot beat some ass. I ain't doing shit. Like,
sweet. I'm gonna try to reload my gun and instead just bomb a grenade over into the corner and kill myself by accident because it thought I was gonna do that.
Did you see?
We've
Matt
noticed
Burns
suicidal tendencies in your playing behavior. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you see Matt Burns and somebody else? They were playing against each other in Killer Instinct over xCloud, and they were talking about it today on Twitter. And like, can you believe this? These guys are doing a competitive fighting game over xCloud. So. There's going to be some different
and too, just for those that haven't caught past shows, the way they balance multiplayer with xCloud is if there are xCloud users, they put them all on the same server. So you'll be playing with someone with just the same latency disadvantage as someone else who has it. That's how they get by some of that latency.
You mean advantage?
That negative latency.
I have a Stadia coming. I pre-ordered it, and I don't like this. I don't like the statement. It's such a stupid statement. I think it kind of hurt them, to be honest with you.
They're treating their their customers like they're idiots, you know?
Like, come on, like you want to. If I wanted to play a game that I'm not playing, I'll just fucking watch YouTube. Like, who wants to do that? Don't predict what I'm gonna do, because maybe I'm not gonna press A. Maybe I'm an idiot and I'm gonna crouch. Like, what the hell?
That's what I said. I'll let the damn robot take up for me. Yep.
Soccer.
Hey, Anthony Porter and
Stay still.
Anthony Porter in the super chat says, shout out to my homie So Shady, who just gave a good perspective on xCloud as well. We've also got a $20 super chat from Robert Cummings. Shout out to him. Showing support, guys. Love the cast as always. Thank you so much, Robert. Do appreciate it, man. And again, to all the channel members and all that stuff. And by the way, I just want to throw this out there. Colt and I did start some merch stuff. So if you've been looking for like an RDX shirt or a shirt, my logo on it, some dumb shit like that, and you happen to give a fuck, you can actually find that shit down in the description now if you want to support the channel, or if you're looking for RDX merch. Maybe you're going to XO 19. We've got some people that wanted some custom shirts for that. You can now buy an RDX shirt on that link down below in the description, and I've set that up with clean logos, so it's just RDX, and they got something to say the podcast thing. I like a minimal. I'm more of a minimalist myself, so I like something that, you know, it just doesn't really stand out a whole lot. So the RDX logo is pretty clean without all that white text. And Colt's got some stuff too, so go to his channel and check his stuff out too if you guys happen to care. Just figured I'd throw that out there.
I'm going to put yours in the podcast link or in the chat here.
You can buy a cup, a blanket, shit. I don't know, maybe a cold. All kinds of stuff. So I kind of set up the descriptions of that stuff to be funny. Maybe you're a fan of the podcast. Maybe you just like this logo stamped on shit in your house. Either way, we've got you covered. But thank you guys so much again. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. Again, thanks to Obi-Wan for providing a ton of some of the best footage I've seen at xCloud. And there's so much good stuff out there, including that Killer Instinct footage we've all seen. But of course, the same usual people only post the negative stuff, right? So can't really go for that.
I did see some of them just posting, like, come on, it's a fucking beta.
And you're only giving one side of the story too. Like, you know, you're only giving one side of the story when you only post negative stuff. So it's probably, you know, I don't know, whatever. Who cares?
Well, I can tell you this much. Just I know the the subject's closing, but people are very happy with the response so far from Xbox. So looks like it's doing well. I mean, from the videos that I've checked, and I've checked a bunch of them, everyone seems to be really having a good time. The videos from Obi-Wan, and I think he's going to do some more, maybe like outside and like a complete out in the open type deal, which would be cool. But it looks good. It's just the one thing, the 2.4 on a Wi-Fi. That definitely have heard from, like, I'd say 90% that it doesn't work. There's an issue there.
Seth Goolsby. He says, "Where's my RDX loofah?" That's a good idea. Regarding the prices on that stuff, though, I did want to throw that out there.
Wash yourself with Colt.
I did want to throw the pricing stuff out there. Like, I tried to make at least a version of each thing as cheap as possible, and the price scaling is based off the material that they use, right? So they basically give me like an option of how much I want to charge and X amount of dollars made on each thing, and I'm like, well, you should be able to get a shirt for $15. So I made sure that you can get an RDX shirt for $15, keep the prices obtainable. Whereas people that want even higher quality material, that option's there for you as well.
I only wear the finest of silks, dealer. I hope it's available.
Yeah, I did Redbubble a few months ago, and the shirts are around $20, and then you have shipping. Like this thing we're using is a lot better, and yeah, we both set shirts at $14 and $15, which is really cool to be able to do that. So
yeah, King Long in the super chat says that the Stadia the Stadia thing would possibly be using rollback netcode. Okay, so that's kind of how you think they're getting around some of the latency. That'll be pretty interesting. Thanks for that information, brother. We've also got David Robinson says, "Dealer, speak more on the mech."
The merch.
I guess, yeah, he didn't put an R there. On merch, Shirts, damn, yeah, okay.
The merch.
Yeah, he's talking about the merch. Yeah, thank you so much, man. It's yeah, I mean, as we just covered, it's out there, man. Thanks again. Anybody picks that up, do appreciate it. Straight Hate Gaming says, much love from Washington State, fellas. Oh, that sounds familiar. Great podcast as always. Thank you so much, Straight Hate. And you know what? I think it's time to move it forward to the Outer Worlds. Cold Eastwood Outer Worlds. Not only do we get some new gameplay, for those that care, remember, Outer Worlds comes out soon, but we got some new gameplay.
45th.
We've also got the install size, which is 37 gigabytes on your hard drive, and it's not being pro enhanced. What's up with that? Is that true?
Yeah, so far that's true. Windows Central reported that there's an X Enhance launching with Outer Worlds, but no PS4 Pro enhancement. So just keep in mind, if you want to play it on the platform that'll sell the most copies, play it at 1080p on PlayStation 4 Pro.
Damn.
Yeah, well, I had a guy, give me some guff today on Twitter and say, I think I'll just play the version that sells the most copies. I go, oh, okay, I'll just play it for free with Xbox Game Pass at, probably a 4K frame buffer for the price of Game Pass.
Why do we think this happened, boys? Do we think Microsoft is playing hardball and they pulled the Pro patch because they now own Obsidian? Or do you think maybe they pulled their strings to get an X patch made? Or was just something that just kind of happened? We've seen games before that had a Pro patch, but not an X patch.
I defer to D on this.
Microsoft devs aren't really familiar with the PlayStation architecture, so
you think it was
they knew how to do that.
I think there's a priority. There's definitely a priority there. It is first party. People act like we're not getting any games, but technically, Outer Worlds it's an Xbox game.
So you think if maybe Xbox didn't buy them at all, we might have had a game launched with no X support and Pro support possibly?
Well, I think it's very likely Pro support could pop up in between here and there. I don't know. It's hard to believe that game isn't going to launch with Pro support. Honestly.
It is. It's weird.
Well,
this is the best part, dealer.
Xbox has talked that they've had people they have their own little development team that goes to developers to help make X enhanced games or just make things run better. And I think they went over there ninjas. And they were just kind of like, hey, you're part of the family now. Here you go. This is what you get. This is the support you get.
Here's the secrets.
Here's the best part.
Here's the sauce.
PlayStation guys today, when they found out that there was be a PS4 Pro enhancement, they said, well, it's basically going to shoot down the chance of the sequel being even funded for PlayStation. They're like, yeah, good luck.
So they didn't know that Matt Booty already turned down the sequel for PlayStation. They said it's only coming to Xbox console, right?
Yeah, they're like, PlayStation guys aren't going to buy the game, so they're not going to sell enough to get a sequel on PlayStation. Like,
if you didn't know, because there are people, there's new people watching the show all the time. Matt Booty basically said that Outer Worlds, they bought it in the middle of their prior commitment going to PlayStation, but the sequel will not be going to PlayStation. That's why they bought the sequel rights, as I told everyone months ago. And yeah, it's not coming to PlayStation either way. Delilah HD, shout out to you as well. We got to get you on the show. Send me a message on Twitter if you would, and I'll send you a Discord invite. He says, or she says, shout out from Grown Woman Gaming podcast. I've seen the show a few times. Hashtag XO19 is a month away, and I am, I'm hearing I am actually hearing some great things about XO19 actually, in terms of how many things are actually there. So yeah, we are definitely enjoying the show, man. Thanks for sending us some love, and we do appreciate it. Send me a DM on Twitter, and hopefully, Colt, your xCloud experience gets better. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully it does. Tim Dog's not even in there yet. He's not even got to try it out yet.
Yeah, I'm dying. I'm still trying to keep my mouth shut.
You sound like you're dying.
Keep it shut then.
Who are you gonna call those?
Xbox Battleground says, don't you guys think Xbox need one or two more big announcements before 2020? I could use all the big announcements they can possibly muster. Battlegrounds, yep. I completely agree.
Agreed.
Yeah, we all agree. We all have been asking for more, better software for years before negativity was the trend. And all that stuff. We want more.
Yeah, and don't use the beginning of the generation to gauge how Microsoft should or shouldn't do things. Like someone said, well, no, they can't announce games early. Look what happened to Crackdown and Scalebound. It's like, dude, that's like that was a long time ago, and that's a totally different. Like that's an outlying example. Like
that's right. You can use the other example. Look what happened to God of War. It was fantastic and sold 10+ mil. So
we're telling them if Fable 4 exists, you need to speak up about it either at XO or at E3 2020. Like you have to speak up and And if you have, oh man, Zucker,
We'll get into all that. We'll get into all that. Let's just save that talk for then. But Adam has something really interesting to say, and I'm going to watch this after he's saying this. But he says, IG Unlocked had the devs from Outer Worlds on today, and they said that Microsoft aren't really on board right now with the Outer Worlds. I find that hard to believe, considering Matt Booty said they want to invest to make it a big exclusive franchise. And secondly,
and they put them front and center at E3 opening trailer.
And we've heard that there's another new IP that Obsidian are working on. That's a new one with the recent leaks. That's the one that really sold them in buying Obsidian. But I guess we'll have to find out. I have to watch that now, especially since you said that. It's kind of hard to believe.
It sounds to me like it was more like Microsoft wasn't involved in making it. They weren't behind making the game. Like it was already made before the purchase.
They're not even really
that's
publishing
probably
it.
what's going on, and it's just
They're not publishing it.
They're not publishing it at all. It's Private Division, which worked with Take-Two or 2K. Crap, I always get those two confused. And it's if Microsoft doesn't sound like it's on board, it's because it's not their baby right now. It's their baby after they launch Outer Worlds on the 25th.
I just find it hard to believe they're not on board, though, at all. I think that was taken
on. Or
over.
that the devs would say that while they're in Xbox Game Studios. Yeah.
Yeah. I really
Somebody just kind of misinterpreted something out of the
that's what I think.
Podcast.
Yeah, I think with them, they're going to take a wait-and-see approach. They're definitely supporting the game. They have supported the game. But, if Outer Worlds becomes this huge hit, they're going to make the sequel just for Xbox.
Well, they're probably more looking towards like how they made the game with the budget that they had, because that's something that a lot of the developers like from In Exile and Obsidian have talked about. Xbox like really respects how they're able to bring out high quality content with like so little like budget. And
so I'm seeing this gameplay right now, and I'm fighting with the damn camera and the cover system so hard. Like I'm taking cover, and the camera keeps flipping to one side, and I'm like, "Fuck, I can't see!" Like. I'm telling you guys, I know it looks like I'm the worst gamer in the universe right now, but it's not all my fault, okay?
That's how he plays usually.
It is not.
Microsoft, they're definitely supporting
Somebody made fun of me for crouching behind a fence.
They're not publishing it. They didn't make it, yet it's in Game Pass day one.
Right,
so obviously some serious coin exchanged hands over into 2K to get this third-party created and published game into Game Pass on the very first day of launch. So they are supporting it just in different ways.
And Tim and I were in a conversation with somebody behind the scenes about that, and they approached Obsidian and said, "We want your game front and center, opening bill for E3 2019." And they're like, "But we're not ready." And they go, "Get a trailer ready, get something cinematic, make it big. It's going to be the opening thing." So Microsoft is big time behind Obsidian. They bought them for a reason. They're really super talented, and I'm excited to play the game. It's basically Fallout 4.5 in space, and Fallout 4 could use a little improvement.
Well, it sounds like they're like Microsoft's big behind all their studios, right? It sounds like they trust them. It sounds like they want them to succeed, and it sounds like they're going to give them the time and the money. Like that's the whole point, right? Like they're not going to. They've started off shows or ended shows on third-party games, and they've had other second-party deals that kind of fell through. Look at Platinum Games. You look at what happened with even Crackdown, even though we all enjoyed that. And I think they're kind of done with that. I think they want to put their first-party studios front and center and give them time to shine and give them the money to shine, right? So that's kind of encouraging.
Yeah, 100%. They're behind the growing the studios. I mean, you even mentioned the group. The group's name is ATG, which is Advanced Technical Group. They're actually expanding, and what they're meant to do is to be a support cast for all these studios that are growing and or they have an issue here. That's the group that they sent for a third party Red Dead Redemption 2 to get it to native 4K, Diablo 3 back in the day 1080p, and Destiny back in the day to get it to 1080p.
Yeah,
so they're great.
Everybody has that. Like Jade Raymond, her studio at Stadia, they're running that. They're doing that. They're going to third-party developers and first-party developers that they have, and they're basically telling them how to code in Stadia. That's what you do. You support the shit that you put out, and that's what they're doing with Xbox.
Hey, I wanna put out there that Wilmy Hood moved his show from Monday nights to Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you rock out Wilmy Hood, check his stuff out. That'll be tomorrow night. The legend of Matty D says he thinks it's a bad idea for Call of Duty to basically Outer Worlds to launch on the same day as COD. I agree. I do agree with that. I'm not sure if it was obviously intentional, but some things can't be helped, I guess. You know what? None of this really matters because
Nope.
Outer Worlds sucks because it's in Game Pass. So, at the end of the day, that's what, people say it devalues games, that those games are trash, but they're concerned about a PlayStation 4 Pro version of the game they're going to pay a lot more for than a lot of Game Pass users that are seeing the game,
Outer Worlds releasing on the COD day would be horrible if it was a first-person competitive shooter. I mean, there
are different genres, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could release Outer Worlds 2 weeks ahead or behind, like Call of Duty is going to sell the most this entire year, no matter what day or what it released next to. It'll be fine. People are going to be curious for a new IP, and people are really excited to play Modern Warfare. So, oh well.
Let's go and move on to the next topic, which find it pretty interesting, and it's an interesting take on the whole Fable 4 thing, which we know, pretty much the Fable is going to be a thing. We don't know how far along it is, but we do know there were job listings at like early 2017, late 2016. So at the end of the day, like, how far is it? New job listing may suggest that it is a little further out than some of us thought, but I don't think that it is this early on. Zalker, you covered this in a video. What exactly are they saying with these job listings, and what are your thoughts?
Well, this article came out from Respawn first, and they brought out, they basically talked about the job listing that they just put out. Playground Games did. They're looking for a lead UI engineer to join their brand new open world action RPG development team. And this is what it says: you will join the team and project at an early stage, giving you the rare opportunity to shape the technology used to build a large scale AAA title. So, and they emphasize early stage twice in the job description. Like later on, they say this is an exceptional opportunity to join a team at an early stage. So a lot of the people that wrote the article said, hey, is this a lot farther along than we think? Is this going to take longer to come out? Because, there was rumors they'll announce it, 2020 E3 or even XO right this year, and have it ready for the beginning of 2020 or 2021, right after the Scarlett launches, like a month or two later. I don't know anymore, because for my experience, doing the UI in the beginning, like the user experience, is one of the first things you kind of do in development, because then you got to connect the back end to the front end. So the back end is working as the UI is working at the same time, and then
Sounds hot.
Yeah, so that's what it's called, whatever. So the UI and everything needs to be done so they know where to connect everything. That's kind of like the way I've done every development and every development cycle I've been a part of. So for them to say they're just getting their lead UI designer, I'm kind of like, whoa, is this another 2 to 3 years out? And don't get us wrong, it sucks that it's farther away, but at the same time, I want them to give Playground Games as much goddamn time as they need. Now, because Tim, to make a big world like that, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Tim, do you honestly, after everything that we've heard, we heard about job listings, people from BioShock, Arkham, Rockstar being hired by Playground Games years ago, it seems like. What are your thoughts on this? Could it possibly be this early on where they're finally just now kind of nailing down the UI or developing the actual UI for user interface for the game?
Well, I was under the impression in 2017 when they were talking about this, about having this vision of having this new action open world RPG, that it would be maybe 3 to 4 years after that, like 2021. I'm now in the boat that they're taking it kind of slow. They want to accrue the best talent that they can. They want to be, do it right. And I'm kind of the mind right now that it's probably a little bit of ways, maybe two, possibly 3 years away. But with that being said, like we've talked about, I do think that it needs to be announced, just because it's been rumored for so long. And that the game is going to come out. This isn't going to be a scale-bound situation. This is not going to be a crackdown situation. The Playground's a premier dev, and I think they're going to prove that. They proved it obviously with the racing genre, but this is it's new for them. So I just think that it is taking a little bit more time than you would think. But yeah, like I was up to, I thought it could be a Fable, it could be a 2021, like Zorko was saying. I'm not of that mind anymore. I'm thinking holiday 2023.
Damn.
Damn.
That's the 2022. I think it's pretty far off. If
And
you're gonna be honest.
And if you look at the way, like Playground Games, like you said, Tim, they trust them, and I mentioned that in my video that Xbox really trusts the leadership at Playground Games. Like for them to give them a whole new studio to make an open world RPG while they still hire for people in Forza, like they trust the leadership to get the best out of it. And when they were talking about recruiting people, I don't know if you guys remember this, it was about like 8-9 months ago. They talked about recruiting people for this new open world RPG. They didn't shy away from saying like, yeah, we didn't tell them what it was until they got hired. So it's really hard to recruit for this when you can't tell them what you're working on because it's such a big secret project.
Yeah.
And they're like, and the other thing we want to do is they said they want to be the best developer in gaming. Like that was one of the guys that Fulton, I think his name is, right?
Ralph Fulton.
Ralph Fulton. He said, he goes, we want to be the best developers in gaming.
And they're one
so,
of
like, they have
Metacritically, right?
Yeah, Metacritic, like everything. So like that, I don't think that just means Forza, guys. I think that means for this game, they're really being very picky and decisive on who they're bringing.
Well, look at who they're hiring, Zocker. You've covered it. I've covered it.
Big people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna have two. Not to interrupt, D, but you're gonna have two monster studios, in Initiative and Playground making games, AAA's. Those are gonna be two massive ones. Like, once you get the bigger, go ahead.
Well, if you look at every other game that's come out, like how long did Horizon Zero Dawn take to make? How long did God of War take to make?
Years.
Like these took years for them to make.
We just didn't know about it. So
yeah, and then that's all that's going to happen is that I think this is going to take a lot longer than people think, and I think Microsoft's okay with it. I think they trust them enough to just be like, you know what, take the time you need, and that's exactly what I want to hear. I don't want to hear like you need to meet this date. If they say that, then they're compromising on something.
Hey, one sec before I forget. Rumple Foreskin. He says Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball gameplay next week. No, sir. We've also got,
please. We want to see some bouncing stuff.
We've also got a new channel member as well. Anthony Bryant, shout out to you, brother. Thank you so much. That new shiny green Xbox logo next to your name. I changed that up a little bit because it was just too much red. It wasn't much of a difference. We've also got Adam Opentree once again. He says, okay, now that I've given some input, hang on, this fucking thing. Double Fine's plans are that they're going AAA because stuff left. Because oh boy, there's some expensive devs now. I don't know about that. Double Fine are not. Are they going AAA? Did anybody else hear about this?
They hired a lot of.
They've hired some AAA developers, like from what was that studio called?
Visceral,
Dead Space Studio.
Mm-hmm.
So, Zocker, do you think they're gonna you think they're gonna kind of ramp things up like every other studio? It kind of makes sense, I guess. But AAA is kind of.
I'll be honest. I've at this point I don't know because this is the same shit that came out with Compulsion, right? Like Compulsion put out a job description talking about a AAA game, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, what's happening? Like, and again,
what do you mean to succeed? We Happy Few?
No, they just another game. We don't know. They and then people put that up on Twitter too, and I was like, man, like at this point, I don't want to like say like this is what they're going. Like we have no idea, but Microsoft is not fucking around. And they're going to give these people anything they need.
Good choice of words.
Yeah, take a shot. They're going to give everybody what they need to make any game they want. And even if a studio wants to do a small game, they can do a small game or a big game. And it's looking like a lot of these studios want to do AAA, and that's all we're hearing, right? Quadruple A, AAA, like job descriptions. It's like at some point, it's like, geez, man.
I just want to touch quick on Playground real quick. I'm glad they're going to get a lot of time because. Really, they usually just get 2 years to make their games, right? Because every other year they're doing the Forza Horizon, right?
Well, that's the reason why that happens, D. And sorry to interrupt you, bud. Is that when you make something, it's extremely hard to get it down the first time. Like, so they already have the technology and a lot of the stuff down for Forza, so they can churn those out by bringing little changes to it. I think dealers brought this up multiple times. I think they need another extra year to really change it up a little bit. And so I think that would be really good for them. But again, they've already have the technology and they've already done it. It's easy to repeat it. And that's what happened with God of War. The developer said, hey, we made that demo for when they showed the first ever demo. It took them 1.5 years just to do that one demo. And they're like, how are we going to make the rest of the game in 1.5 years or 2 years? Like, how are we going to, like, it almost seemed impossible, but it's because they already had that demo down. They can pull from that technology, pull from that code to make everything easier because you can repeat it.
Well, they were definitely working on the whole game, but yeah, to kind of nail that demo down and figure things out along the way, yeah, it probably took them quite a while. I want to get Shady's take on this as well. But Beaner in the super chat says, best gaming podcast there is. Instead of microtransactions, full price games should just have basically all content included and maybe have a tip system for developers or publishers. DLC basically just that. That would be kind of interesting, but I don't think they have that much faith in gamers, honestly. I think they want to sell you some surprise mechanics. Shady, what are your thoughts?
Version, yeah.
What are your thoughts on Fable 4 and how it could potentially be years away? We never really thought it was a Scarlett launch title, but maybe 2021. Maybe that's not the case, man.
I could see it being a little ways out. Technically, it's almost all rumor. We still haven't heard 100% confirmed anything, have we? That is exactly 100% what they're making. Like, I think it's just
Absolutely
kind of a lot of talk. So I wouldn't be really surprised. It doesn't let me down. I'm not a Fable fan, so to speak. Like, the franchise did nothing for me. So I'm excited just on maybe this one will get me excited. They've done something different, but I don't want them changing it up crazy and doing something hugely different for my account or other people like me. I hope they deliver something that, the true diehards can appreciate and love. It's a beloved franchise. I constantly read people that talk about it very fondly. So I hope they deliver something for those guys primarily, but I could see it being delayed. And I don't think that's a bad thing. And I also don't think they need to show stuff years and years out. I mean, Sony, they love doing that. They also love taking shows off recently. They skipped out on E3, for God's sakes, because they showed everything for years and years and years. Those are like their words. We have nothing new. So I don't want to see that ever happen with Xbox. Granted, they have 15 studios, and like half of those studios have 2 dev teams. So I don't think it's going to be a big problem. But yeah, it could be a ways out.
Yeah, it definitely
15
could.
studios for now.
Sounds like a lot of games are coming.
And I have to, and there's one more thing I said. I don't know. I might be totally, but I think that I think that the initiative and this team, the Playground second team, I think they're kind of almost on the same cycle of when they were being built. Because I remember the end of 2017 is when they were like, the Playground game was like, this building awesome for a new team, right? And it was like they put their thumbs up, like they just got their building at like almost basically 2018, and then the initiative gets announced in the June 2018. And they're building their studio, so it's kind of
that's when they let any of us know that. Yeah,
exactly. So I kind of see them almost the same.
The promo video, it was fully furnished and up and running. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
But the cool thing is, and what I've tried to drive home with my video last week was that Microsoft could have laid there and said, "Well, it just didn't work out, and we'll just have other people make our games for us." Which is what they kind of did for a couple of years. But no, I mean, this isn't Sumo Digital. People don't understand what happened with Xbox this generation. The developing team that made Crackdown 3, their last game was Sonic All-Star Transformed. That's who took over their tentpole franchise of Crackdown. And I love that game a lot. But this is not what the Microsoft is now. Microsoft is a group of really talented studios, and they're all wildly different. They're all bringing huge variety, like Dealer said in his video on Monday, which is fantastic. I'm really happy. I mean, people can whine and cry about what Xbox did in 2017, 2018, but they're totally different, and there's a whole bunch of stuff coming, and if they take an extra year or two from when we expect Fable, I agree with the whole panel. It's more power to them.
Until then, we'll be asking for more, but also playing pretty much every new game that comes out on every platform and not constantly making ourselves miserable by complaining. Now, this next topic comes from GamePressure.com. I feel like they had a lot of pressure to just pull this out of their ass. Grand Theft Auto 6 likely to launch with PlayStation 5. They're saying that it should launch next year during holiday period. Now, for one, why even angle it that way? Because it's going to be a fucking multi-plat. But two, D-Batch, what are the odds that Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out next year, do you think?
I
don't know.
My thoughts on it, it would be a a great time to launch the game. To be honest with you, with the next generation consoles launching, it'd be a great launch title. The possibility of that happening is really slim to none. They just released Red Dead Redemption, and now next month they're releasing the PC version. They're gonna want to milk that game for at least a few more years. I would say 2021, not next year, in my opinion. But who knows?
Yes, I agree.
I think the milking of Red Dead is already done. Like they'll get some more from PC, but I don't think nearly as many people bought that as they did Grand Theft Auto. And I think Grand Theft Auto is a way bigger franchise. I don't think it's coming out next year. I really don't.
No way.
There's no way. Like they usually announce, they kind of hint or announce games kind of like a year, right? Like before they come out.
Or even.
Yeah, even more, exactly. And they don't show up to any event. They do their own thing. They're like the Sony of the game developers. Like random Tuesday, here's a trailer. Fuck yourself. Like,
yeah, they don't care about console generation window either.
No, they don't.
And Grand Theft Auto 5 came out 3 years after Red Dead Redemption. So if they had any sort of repeat history, D's right, that we wouldn't see Grand Theft Auto 6 until the end of 2021.
And you got to understand that it doesn't matter anymore to get that cross-generation thing, right? Because at this point, backwards compat and forward compat is looking like it's going to happen with a lot of the consoles. So if they make a game for Xbox Scarlett, that game will probably work on Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it, right? And I think it's going to be the same thing for PlayStation 5. This bridge battle that you guys are having right now is kind of legit. I ain't going to lie. Oh my God, Cole just died. Yes.
Leo Enduro in the Super Chat says, Leo Enduro in the Super Chat says, love the podcast, gentlemen. Hope that XO19 will be awesome and glad to see studios getting the time or resources they need to make the games that they want. That's a good outlook, and that's absolutely true, Leo. These studios have gotten nothing but more time, nothing but more money. Studios like In Exile said, look, we didn't even have full voice acting in our game before Microsoft even purchased us, but look, we were able to raise the visual fidelity and get voice actors for every character. That's great, man. We're not hearing a single damn bad thing. Rod Bergeson saying we could do whatever we want. Microsoft had no creative input on Gears 5. There's a lot of freedom and resources there, man. I think other studios might see that in the future. Hopefully we get some good stuff there. And we've also got to give a shout out to almost 900 people watching us live, guys. Hit that like button. Let's try to get to 400 likes for the end of the show. 1,000 after the fact. Colt, let's get into one of the really the Grand Theft Auto 6 thing. Honestly, I wanted to bring it up because I feel like anything regarding Grand Theft Auto, I think people should know about, and our thoughts on it are, we just don't know exactly where they're getting it from.
I'll close that out with a little fireball. The rumor is that it's going to take place in Miami, a la Vice City, and it will take place over 2 to 3 time periods.
Yeah.
If there's any truth to this, which is probably just someone's pipe dream, right? They're just like saying, it'd be really cool. I'll just pass this off as a true rumor. It would be great if Grand Theft Auto took place in like the 80s and then it fast forward to current time, because they said that the buildings will change and the city will change period time and will evolve as it changes up to the new time. But I don't know if that's like the next evolution of GTA, but if that rumor has any like a little smoke drizzling from actual plans that someone leaked, that could be pretty cool.
But I wonder how the online would work then. Do you choose your era when you're loading it up?
Choose your era.
Probably progress with the story, probably.
Which type of polio do you have?
The early kind.
Yeah.
But what is this new topic? You got like one new hot topic from RDX.
No, I mean, we got a couple after this as well, but I really wanted to get into Halo Infinite because this is one of the more interesting of the week. A lot of people have run off and made videos about this, not even knowing half of the facts. And of course, we're kind of going to, wait for the developer to respond and stuff like this. And they have responded. So 343 respond to a lot of this Halo Infinite bullshit that people are putting out there, a lot of the drama putting out there. Lead producer, Mary Olsen, leaves 343 shortly after the creative director, Tim Longo, leaves the game as well. And a lot of people have misquoted this. They don't even understand what's happening. So, again, 343 responds to the fear-mongering. Colt, do you want to go ahead and get into these quotes? A lot of quotes here.
I love how you titled it 343 responds to fear-mongering fanboy.
Yeah.
I love it. Here's the quote. It says, "We want to clarify what Tim and Mary's
this is just to be
roles
clear, right? This is one of the guys, public statement guy responding to a Reddit thread.
Community manager.
Yeah,
Community
community
manager for
responding
Microsoft.
to some bullshit, and this is all his words.
We want to clarify what Tim and Mary's roles were at the studio because there seems to be quite a bit of confusion. Before that happens, though, I'd like to reassure everyone that the entire Halo Infinite team is rallying behind the game and is working hard to make sure we can execute on its vision. Tim's role as creative director was to make creative decisions around design and direction of the game. Rather, it was campaign, multiplayer, etc. Mary's role as executive producer and then lead producer on campaign was to help drive the game to its completion for our holiday 2020 release, with the latter specifically focusing on campaign deliverables. There you go. Wow, he used a lot of big words.
Now that's just his first set of quotes there, but you can go ahead and just read them all.
He had, so this was in response to some Reddit threads. It's funny because there's these fanboys that work around the clock for free to prove that Xbox is going to die.
Now
okay?
this isn't his quote. That was Colt's quote, a good quote, Colt. But yes, I mean, like I said, just read everything that I wrote there, and then we can kind of get into it.
You're like, in other words, Colt, stop going off script. Okay. Here's the quote. Unfortunately, the Reddit thread's title saying he was replaced with Mary and she also left is far from accurate. It implies that Mary took over creative control of the entire game, didn't like what she saw, then decided to leave. If that's what actually happened, I could totally understand getting worried, but that isn't the case, as she was a lead producer and not the creative director. Producers at our studio support designers, engineers, artists, etc. by helping each of them track and hit deliverables. They also ensure people that they support are not overwhelmed with too much work and have all the tools and information they need to hit deadlines. To put it simply, producers are ones tasked with making sure the studio is moving forward, even our community team, to ensure we're tracking our deliverables. So it's a micromanager, basically. That's a close quote.
It's basically what this person does is they go to the engineer or an artist or anybody and they said, hey, can you bring this basically to life in the next 2 to 3 days or maybe a week? And they'll tell them, like, give me a day or two and I'll get back to you. All right. And then you come back a day or two later and they're like, no, I can't make it. Or, yeah, sure, I should be able to get it to you by this time.
Yeah.
That's basically what they are.
Well, the best part of the quote is to come. The best part of the quote is to come. He addresses the clickbait Reddit thread's title and, of course, the fact that Mary replaced Tim and all the confusion there.
Yeah, he says the Reddit title thread was super misleading. There is no creative dilemma inside the studio, and there is no writing on the walls. Yeah.
So, what do you get from that? Just reading it, Colt?
I get that Mary's job was to look over her employees, and like Zocker said it very well, make sure that the people who are building polygon stuff or texture mapping or whatever, make sure they're meeting their deadlines. We need to have this section of this mission finished by on the 14th. I'm going to come back and check with you. Did we get that done? Are we good? Do we need more time? And that's basically, that's not someone going, well, I don't really like this part in the story where Master Chief was riding a flamingo. Did we make that? It's like,
why is Master Chief riding an ostrich? I mean, he says it. He says it right there in the quote, right?
Film and cinema.
He says it right there.
She basically helps people.
Make sure shit gets done. Sorry, there.
Well, it's not even just get shit done. It's so people don't clash and waste time. It's about.
It's like a manager,
that's
right?
That's what this person does. Like, hey, you need to have this done by the time this person gets this done, right? Like, if you finish at the same time, you can move on to the next.
Let's remember what the drama was about. Let's remember what the drama was about real quick, because the drama was about Tim Longo, right? Tim, and I'll get Shady's take on it, get Tim's take on it. Tim leaving as creative director, everyone's like, what's going on? Right? Well, that's trouble. And I agree. None of this is necessarily great from the outset unless maybe that guy's vision wasn't as good as another guy's. We don't know. This happens, right? But people were saying, well, then they brought in this Mary girl, and then she saw what happened, and she left too, and she had the same job as Tim. That's not the case. That's why he's explaining what their roles were. I don't think it's good that people left like this, but for people to say Halo's doomed and the writing's on the wall, he had to literally come out with this post. And, of course, Panda's East Bambo says, woo, Xbox, thank you so much. Shady, what is your thought on all this, considering all of the negative videos and stuff that people were just kind of spraying, not knowing the facts?
It's unfortunate, but it's not surprising. I mean, ignorance is rampant when it comes to the gaming community. I don't know what to say about it other than it's disappointing. But at the same time, it's understandable. Negativity sells, and it's also been monetized via click, thanks to YouTube and stuff. So there's just a lot of that being spread. Even if they know it's the truth, they know it's going to, click better and title better if they just make it look like the game is an abortion and needs to be tossed out. So I don't know. It's unfortunate. I know that a producer is kind of, the whip cracker, the management over all things. They're not there, like you said, looking over every bit of the minutia when it comes to the story. And no, we need to tweak his shoulder pads just like this and make his helmet. No, none of that. They're there to make sure everyone's lined up and on point and getting the job done in the proper time that they were given. So I was never truly worried about it. But, that being said, people leaving a production of anything when it's partway done, unless their job is done, is slightly concerning. But I'm thinking Halo.
I want Zocker to speak up. Zocker, what is, with 12 months to launch for a huge AAA first-person campaign shooter with multiplayer, where are they at right now if they lost this supposed all great and powerful leader with a magic
and
staff?
Consider the over 500 people that are there working on it.
Yeah, I mean, she just got replaced. Like, this is literally what this person is doing. As an engineer, as a person that programs, or a person that, like anybody, right, an artist or anything, they don't want them in meetings. They don't, because that's a waste of their talents. Them sitting in a meeting means nothing. So what they want to do is keep those people programming. That's what you want them to do, to get the job done. The people like her, who are the product managers or the program managers, they want those people in the meetings, because then they can like execute things, right? They can tell them like, hey, this is where this person's at. It's called giving people updates. It's called the Agile Scrum system. That's what it is. You figure out who's blocking you from doing something, and then you tell them like, hey, you need to finish this so this person can finish that, right? So that's what it is. It's just keeping things flowing and going. This is the best way you can do things, and people don't work in more than 5 to 6 people in a group. I gotta mute my mic. Go ahead.
Thank you, Zocker. Like, that's cool to hear it from. I mean, it's funny because somebody in the chat, the geeky nerd, said, sounds like a bunch of PR talk. Like, no, you have to pay attention. Like, you have to understand how the industry works. Like, pay attention, read about the industry, look at how these studios work, look at who the managing roles are and what they do. If you're interested in this, read about it and get an understanding and knowledge of what it means when someone like this leaves and what it means with 12 months to go. Zocker didn't get to tell us because he had to mute his mic. But what I'm getting at is when you're 12 months to launch for a big game like this, the meat and direction of the game is probably mostly done. Would you guys agree?
Ironing out things. I think they're ironing out things. They're getting stuff ready. I mean, they're going to show, and you're probably going to be able to play the game at E3, right?
Sure.
Like,
or sooner. It could be sooner.
Or sooner. We don't know. But they're ironing things out. They're getting things done. And that's what it is. Like, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've seen more people hate on this and act like it's doom and gloom more than fucking Sean Layden leaving, which is
The explanation for what's been going on sounds completely plausible and understandable. I mean, I've seen some community members, some podcasters, former Xbox guys tweeting out, "It's damage control." They did just get PS4. I won't name names. Check it out. I had to call it out, man. Like, fuck right off. How about it sounds like it's just fine? This is a believable reason as to why this is happening. And they're coming out and saying this because the absolute ignorance and fake news is spreading like wildfire. It's burning down all goodwill before there even is any, really. It's ridiculous. And I'm glad that Microsoft did it. Kudos. People need to start reading and, go to the facts.
Reading?
People
The
just want
fuck
to
is
believe.
that?
It wasn't a weird skill.
Hey, I got to give a shout out to Merc305. Shout out to you, brother. Also, Kevin Bell, new channel member as well. He actually has something interesting to say. He says he thinks maybe the campaign is ramping down and they are focusing largely on the multiplayer. Who knows, man? Honestly, but either way, you're talking about 500 to 700 people in the studio, right, Tim? The chances of one cog or two cogs at a time, though important positions that are probably already filled. Keep in mind, we didn't find out about this officially. It was via a LinkedIn page that we even found out this girl left. I mean, could it really be that detrimental, Tim?
No. I when I heard the news, I wasn't alarmed. I know a couple of people, that are working there, and I had asked them originally when that happened, when Tim Longo left, if there was a problem, and this is all going. Haven't heard anything. there's 515 or so Bungie employees. They also have like another 200 supposedly contractors on this game. I don't
mean
know.
343, not Bungie.
Yeah, 343. But this is a huge scale game. It is a launch game with the the Scarlett console. It is made with Scarlett in mind. There was an article that talked about that. This game is going to come out when they need it to come out. I did hear there was friction in 2018 when Josh Holmes left, and there was a little bit of creativity where it was going, and then Chris Lee took over. From what I've heard, I heard Chris is excellent, and he's pretty much been creatively been in charge of that, fully, and there's no fires to put out here. So that's when I heard the news. I wasn't taken back because I had known that I've heard that everything's going well. So I don't think you're gonna get a delay here. This is the bottom line.
Can I say right? Like we've talked about this last week and the week before, Microsoft coming out and responding.
Yes.
Right? Like they're fucking coming out saying what they have to say to negative news like this that can be detrimental to the launch of the Scarlett. The camera, they came out and said that shit's not in there. Moving on. like
they said shut the fuck up, it's not in there.
Yeah. Now this Halo, like their biggest franchise and the king of Xbox, Master Chief, they're like, no, fuck off. That's not what this is.
It's a different Xbox. I'm glad to see that.
I feel it. Like I feel like it's a different Xbox. That's like, you know what, this Scarlett. People say they don't care about the console. Well, it looks like they fucking do, people. They care about a lot of stuff. It looks like they care about.
They have been coming out and addressing a lot of bullshit, right? And if I were the people feeding off the negative stuff, I would kind of be a little bit more hesitant to run with it because Microsoft, they're not just letting you run with shit like they used to. It seems like.
No, just quit trying so hard to prove that Xbox isn't going to pick up after like making mistakes for 2 or 3 years. Like they made some big ones. Just relax a little bit. Like just quit trying so hard.
If you're not invested in the platform, why do you even care?
It's so weird. Yeah, it's just really weird.
Maybe that's their mentality. Like that's exactly why they care because they're not invested. Like
I mean,
they don't know the competition's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, guess what? You'd actually have a really good time on the Xbox. Had one and have a good time on your PlayStation. Go buy a Switch, play on the PC, play on the Soldier Boy console. Dealer and I already pre-ordered them.
I mostly play on PC. I play on my Xbox One X. And the last week, I'd say the last week and a half, actually, I've been on my PlayStation 4. I've been trying to get through the backlog, my backlog titles. I want to trade some of these games in for, some Death Stranding, to be honest. I don't want to pay full price for that game. And I'm playing my PlayStation 4 and I'm enjoying it. I just enjoy playing games. I prefer the Xbox platform. I prefer PC overall, but I love gaming in general. So all gaming news, all progression is good for all gamers.
I think D kind of cut out there at the end, right?
Can you hear me? Sorry. I'm just saying I don't know what's wrong with gamers. Just enjoy the games. Enjoy the games that you enjoy. If you don't like a certain platform, then you don't like that platform. I don't understand why you waste so many hours of your day on Twitter with your burning thumbs typing bad shit.
Flaming thumbs.
I got it.
These mic cut out from all those platforms he owns, like heating up his house.
L State said like an awesome comment. Sorry, he's like, dealer, this gameplay is horrible. I still love RDX though. Keep up the
great. Hey, be nice. Come on.
Trust me, I know. I mean, I made fun of myself more than anybody.
Inverted.
Hey, you guys didn't have to play it. You just have to watch it. So
I'm gonna play the shit out of this game.
It's gonna play you.
What does that say? Philly Eagle says fragility is why they care. That's an interesting word, fragility. Never said
Bunch
it.
of goddamn snowflakes out here, dealer.
What is fragility?
Fragile. They're fragile people.
Oh, fragility.
Fragility.
Italian? It's a French word.
Send me that V-neck shirt.
Hey, Tim, you had... Tim, you had put on Twitter, there's 19 different job listings for Turn 10 in their next generation Forza game. What details of that? And I got it here in the notes, but you probably didn't go through them because it's a lot of quotes and stuff. But do you remember any details of the actual job listings that you had on Twitter?
To be honest, no. I think it was pretty. One of them was a pretty high-ranking title, but I did not know the. You might know better than me. I did know that it was 19, and they're ramping up. Obviously, the studio for either a launch of with Scarlett, or as we were talking about previously on another show, possibly a Q1 or Q2 release for Forza. So that game's definitely coming. And it's nice to see they're expanding. You know, they were a studio of 75, I believe, and you know, they're growing just like everyone else is growing. It's pretty crazy what's going on. I mean, we've been covering it, but all these studios, including Turn 10, are, you know, expanding.
It's kind of weird. It's almost like Microsoft are investing in gaming more than they ever have, huh?
Yeah, I think that's a fact, to be honest.
Isn't it kind of nice to see them like not just invest in the new studios, but like kind of give what the old studios need, right? Like going to them and being like, "Hey, here you go, whatever you need." I think it's kind of awesome, like how they're just taking care of everybody
Yeah.
within there. Like everybody's hiring, and especially studios they trust, like Turn 10 and the Coalition. Like they're getting everything they need and then some. So it's pretty fucking awesome.
It's pretty crazy when you look from Rare at 300 developers right now. There were 100 2-3 years ago when at the launch of Sea of Thieves. They're about 300. Their LinkedIn, I think, has
Because that
260.
game's amazing, dude. Hell yeah.
Yeah, well,
they deserve
it was a big game, and then you look at Ninja Theory. They're up to double the amount. It's just crazy that how big they're becoming.
Yeah. And they're not even, it's not even limited to those guys, right? Like there's a lot of studios that are hiring. Punkerdish, what's going on, brother? A lot of studios hiring. It's kind of crazy because we've not seen this kind of growth. We're not even hearing about these job listings from Sony's side. Not that they don't have any, but it seems like Microsoft are rapidly, aggressively expanding. They've well over doubled their studios in the last year and a half. On top of that, they're increasing the size of every studio they have, it seems. Just really impressive stuff, man. Really, really good to hear. And 19 more positions to be filled at Turn 10. And those are just ones that we know of. I also covered a job listing a while back, hiring for their next generation Forza game. And yeah, they're definitely all in on motorsport. They're taking extra time. Remember, if they weren't taking extra time, we'd be playing the Forza 8 right about this time this year, right? So they obviously are taking a minimum of another year to make the next Forza game. And we think it'll be the first ray tracing game, or one of the first ray tracing games for Scarlett. And hopefully they add things like the Club Garage and stuff back in. But it's looking really good on that front. On all fronts, it seems like a lot of capability being stored up here. I want to move on to this Xbox update. Shady, was that you?
It was. I was just going to say, it's obviously a good thing that Killer Phil broke down the door to Saudi's office and reminded the man that they own Xbox a couple of years ago. It seems to be working out, and we're going to be rolling in games soon enough, baby.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully it's not like Fable, apparently. Hopefully Fable's a little closer than what it seems, you know? That would be nice.
5 years out.
Oh, God, don't say that. This new Xbox update adds, Randolph Thor actually covered this, new text filters to help battle online toxicity. Kind of like here on YouTube, where you can set certain words to basically automatically hide comments, right? So if somebody says something they shouldn't say that's really bad, YouTube will catch that stuff. And honestly, I don't deal with any of this on Xbox in terms of like toxic messages. Kind of odd that they're inserting this filter, but I figured I'd throw that out there before we move on to PlayStation 5 and the next Scarlett regarding Arcturus. And, of course, another reliable Japanese source, the same one leaking a lot of the clock speeds and stuff that we think are accurate for PS5, a lot of the code names that line up as well. D-Bash, you wanted to talk about Arcturus.
Yeah, so actually I should let Colt talk about it first because he actually did a video on it and then kind of jump in on it. But his video was well done. I'll say real quick, a lot of people were like getting on him saying, oh, you don't know if it's going to be Arcturus or Arcturus is this type of GPU. And like, listen, we can only report on the news. Like we're a year out from these consoles launching. There's going to be a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of leaks. And there's going to be some false information too. But we're just reporting on the stories.
Yeah.
And
I know. I get this all the time. I hear this with you as well. Like, we get it's funny, it's like these aren't our sources most of the time. Like I have the source in there, like go after Komachi and go after CNET and go after these insiders and these AMD techs that are leaking this. Go after them. I'm just telling you, it's fine, whatever. I don't need to have to fix it. But I mean, in the video, I say, hey, a lot of this information comes from this and this and this. And if you're okay with that, let's talk about what could possibly be in the Scarlett. So the problem with this Arcturus is it's a next generation, which I believe above Navi, right, D-Batch?
Yeah, so it's definitely coming after
But
Navi.
is it based off of Navi but evolved? I mean, that's kind of what I said in my video, and people took exception to that. But kind of what I saw from the roadmap and the description, that it was like based off of Navi, and it's like a next generation for the GPU from AMD. But you could probably fix that better than I could.
Yeah, so there's a few rumors out there. So one of them is that this is going to be in the next generation Scarlett, in the next generation Xbox console. I actually covered this story like a year ago when it first touched down.
Yeah,
and like that's when we started seeing like benchmarks for it, right? And so now they're saying that this could be the GPU that's inside Scarlett, and then some are saying that it appears, just from like the leaks and codes, whatever, that it appears to be aimed at the HPC market, which is basically the high end GPU market, like creators, like the Radeon Instinct cards. So some are saying that it's based on that. There's some other reports that it's a hybrid, that it's part Navi, it's part GCN, so it's part of the the old Radeon tech. And the bottom line is we really don't know what it's based on. The only thing that we know for sure is that this GPU is coming out in 2020, and it is coming out obviously after Navi. So you would suppose that they would actually put some of their newer features in, not trumping their old features. But at the same time, AMD has said that they will continue with GCN for for certain workloads, for certain creators, more for the professional line, more for compute stuff.
Or server based, yeah.
But then again, this could be a whole new GPU that's a complete custom design, with a collaboration between AMD and Microsoft. We really don't know a lot about it, to be honest with you. So it could be anything at this point.
Right. Yeah, so, it's funny. It's coming from AMD techs. It's coming from insiders. Like, take it however you want. Like I said in the video, you could take it with the perfunctory overuse statement, take it with a big grain of salt, or listen to the information, bounce it off of what we've heard, bounce it off of what you think AMD will provide, what's affordable in a console, and kind of come up with your own decision, what you think it's going to be.
Also at the same time, though, AMD has come on record to say that the next generation Xbox will have a Navi-based GPU. So they did actually come out and say that.
Right,
so
they did, yeah.
I feel like this is like a lot of new tech coming in, right? Like there's just these consoles, these new consoles coming out like never before done, right? On a console ever. And, even like the ray tracing is, that's extremely difficult. And I don't know, this kind of like makes you think about E3 that just happened, because for a lot of people, not just Xbox's E3, the whole entire E3 show kind of felt disappointing. And it's maybe because these developers are preparing for next year, like getting ready for all this new tech coming out. Like they're trying to handle it before next year's E3 for the launch of the consoles, or even the year after. It just feels like this is like everything you guys are talking about, everything we hear, guys. This is like, think about the developers, learning this stuff, the machine language, learning all this stuff. Like that's a huge task for these people to do.
Yeah, and Microsoft may be saying Navi GPU, or they don't say Navi, but they say it's Navi. It may be just like they did with the CPUs. It could be a hybrid mix, or it's all custom and semi-custom. And maybe these AMD techs are saying, well, what we're seeing from the Scarlett build is it's closer to this Arcturus. And they say that word, it starts getting passed around. And maybe it comes out that it's, slightly more advanced than just your regular, Navi family. We don't know yet. But what we do know is that what we've heard from Microsoft and from Sony about next generation is these consoles are going to be really amazing if they're at the $500 price point.
Yeah. Can we segue into the next topic, Dealer?
Well, I did want to point out that it'll likely
I haven't heard Dealer talk on it.
It'll likely have elements from different architectures. Like the X, of course, is Polaris based, but it's got Delta color compression from Vega, right? It's got Vega features on it. The Pro has FP16, a Vega feature. So it could be a hybrid deal there, or or who knows? I do remember D covering this. I covered it as well. Seems like about a year ago, and I'd have to go back and watch that video again to remember what exactly that leak was. But I mean, that's not the only thing. There are some very reliable Japanese sources out there, like the ones who leaked or are talking about the square millimeter size of the actual die or the chip itself, right, Tim? Like the 350 whatever, versus 300. And those same guys are also, they keep referencing 8-core 16 threads, meaning that AMD are definitely, I mean, according to everything that everyone keeps basically putting out there, that they're going to be using multi-threading or, AMD's equivalent to hyper-threading. Again, I can't stress how impressive that is in a console. While it's been done with the 360 before, it was a 3-core with 6 threads. This is a completely different monster if it's doing 16 threads in a console. I think it's nuts. I don't think it's necessary, and that's what makes it so cool, is that it's going to be so ridiculously powerful for what it is. But at the end of the day, it's all about balance too. So the Albert Pedro in the Super Chat says, hey guys, couldn't 343 just work on a new IP like Playground? That's a Halo studio, so no one's forcing those guys to work there. If they don't want to work on Halo, they can obviously just kind of go work somewhere else as well. Jabril Williams in the Super Chat says, Linux drivers have been leaked on the GPU. It isn't based on Navi at all. It is based off of GCN, lacks a third graphics engine, and AMD engineer has already stated that it isn't a next-gen architecture. What do you think about that, D?
I don't know. I have to see it for myself. Like I said, these are all rumors. We really don't know what this Arcturus GPU is going to be used for. We just know that it exists, and some sources are relating it to consoles, and some other sources are saying not. It's going to be a Radeon Instinct card, and that it is based on GCN. And there's other reports saying that it's a freaking hybrid. So we're going to have to take a wait and see approach. I am quite confident that whatever the GPUs the Xbox Scarlett is using is going to be very powerful. They touted ray tracing from the start, and I know the mindset that Microsoft has right now of not, being beat in the power department ever again. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to be a very, very capable console. I think both consoles are going to be unique in the way they approach ray tracing, but nonetheless, I still think the Xbox is going to be a powerful system. And like you were talking about some of these leaks, the PlayStation 5, like a lot of the stuff that's being confirmed for the PlayStation 5, like the CPU, I fully expect the Xbox Scarlett to have this in it as well. Like the Japanese magazine Famitsu was reporting yesterday, I did a video on this, that the PlayStation 5 is actually going to have an 8-core 16-thread chip. And this is like a really reputable source. It's a very good source. And Sony has not come down and shot this source down, so it's sticking so far.
And it's pretty much every source that talks about it. They're always talking about multi-threading. So it's kind of interesting.
And the source was really interesting, where it's it's saying that worlds are going to be possible with this 8-core 16-thread CPU. It's a quantum leap ahead. It's like 4, almost 5 times more powerful than what we're getting now. It's these next generation consoles are not going to play around. Solid state hard drive, hardware ray tracing, 8-core 16-thread CPU. For those out there that thinking these consoles won't be capable of 4K 60 frames per second, man, you're going to be eating some crow. I'm not going to sit there and say every single game is going to do 4K 60, but it's going to definitely be more the norm than it is this generation.
It'll be more capable than most PCs out there, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait. We're
a
a year out,
dangerous statement.
Fuck them. I mean, it's just a fact. So.
Yeah, nothing has really upset people more. I mean, there's these leaks from. I mean, there's supposed leaks from AMD developers and hardware techs and stuff, but nothing has scrambled the Sony guys more than continuing to hear that the Xbox has people saying that it's super powerful, that the die is bigger.
I mean, and Microsoft themselves keep saying, and they're the only ones who say that we'll be the fastest and the most powerful, and our goal is to be the best. And Billy Eagle says RDX will be 3 hours long. Yeah, no, not quite.
No, I want to say something real quick.
Jabril Williams was in here. Jabril Williams is in here.
Go ahead, go.
Sorry, buddy. Jabril Williams is in here, and he talks to me a lot on DMs and on Twitter, and then he was talking on the chat here. Like he's really trying to fight the good fight that the Xbox Scarlett isn't that powerful as we're claiming. But I mean, it's okay. Maybe the Scarlett will be a little bit more than the PS5, but I'm really excited. I don't want them to both to cost me $1,000 to get both of them, here in the States, but that's what my plan is. So,
but really, when you think
scramble.
about it, Colt, $500 for what you're going to be getting out of these consoles. A lot of PC guys, they're unsettled by this. When I put up my video, they got it. Oh, it's not going to have an 8-core 16-thread CPU. How can it have an 18-core 16-thread CPU for that price? And there's a lot of things they don't understand. First of all, these companies, when they sign up to make these consoles, it's a long-term deal. It's a commitment. So they're getting these chips at bulk. They're getting them at a discount for starters.
They also think 3.4 gigahertz isn't enough. It's going to be trash on a console.
That's more than enough for a console, because I think it might be 3.4 to 3.6, but they're optimized. It's more than enough for a console. And these are going to be basically like low bin 3700 chips that, aren't getting up to 4.1, 4.2 gigahertz, but they get up to 3.6, 3.7, and they're going to be repurposed for the consoles. And it's going to be cheap for them to get them. And next year, when these consoles come out, we're going to be on the next generation of Zen processors. So these are going to be a lot cheaper as well. So, I don't understand it.
Also, they're all APUs, too. You can get APUs dirt cheap. With the Xbox One X, people didn't think that would be possible for the same price either. People like to act like they never said that, but they did. We'll have to see, man. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. People don't seem to learn their lesson. If it's powerful, they think it's going to be $1,000, and all. Just look at history, right? So
stop getting excited. That's what kind of people.
I don't know, man.
People come in and they pour cold water over it. Like, quit getting excited. Quit getting people excited. It's like, okay, quit being happy.
Quit having fun.
I say go mind your own fuckhole and let people be excited for what they want to be excited for, right? I don't think it's that big of a deal. But again, we gotta give a shout out to almost 900 people that tuned in tonight, guys. We do appreciate it so much. You power this podcast. You make it everything that it is. Let us know your feedback in the comments down below when the show renders. Hit that like button.
Except about Ghost Recon.
Let's try. Yeah, I already made fun of myself enough. All right. Let's try to get it past 400 likes for the end of the show. 1,000 after the fact. Do appreciate it. We're almost there. Of course, shout out to the awesome chat. You guys are fantastic. All the channel members, all the patrons, and everybody who's messaged me about buying the shirts and stuff. Thank you so much. It all helps. Links for the patron. Again, that starts on the 1st. It refreshes down below. Links for the merch down below, which we finally actually got some merch. We're like the last guys in the community to finally do this. And some would say maybe we should have been some of the first, but yeah, better late than never. And again, this panel is awesome. Be sure you support all these guys on Twitter and support these guys, whatever they do. But we're going to get into some outros and stuff. Shady, I'm going to give you the last word on the next generation hardware and everything that you're hearing. And, it's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's not. I was going to say, I'm admittedly the resident, tech casual when it comes to all this stuff on this panel today. But all the numbers you guys were throwing around, it's got me excited and whatnot. Like, I think it's going to be a good thing no matter what system you're going with. You're going to end up with a beast in your house. And I'm willing to pay a little bit more money when it comes to the launch console to make sure I got that power, man. I'm making Skype calls to my Instagram bitches, post more pictures and make Shady more riches. I need these consoles to be a monster at launch. So just come out swinging, man. I'm willing to spend a little bit more at the beginning for a 5-6 year gen, and I'm not too concerned. I think they're both going to be monsters, and it sounds like Scarlett's going to be a seriously hungry one.
And think about it too. The vast majority of people are still in the base consoles. So the X and the Pro, even the Pro was a pretty, at least when it comes to compute, a pretty decent lift over the base PS4. The X was fucking crazy, right, compared to the base Xbox One. And there's a lot of people, most in fact, I'd say 95%, that are coming from that base console to something like the Scarlett or the PS5, and they're really going to be blown away even more than the guys on the X. So
the jump would be massive. And then, to count out my casual opinion, Arcturus sounds sweet. It sounds badass.
Arcturus.
That's right.
Yeah, but man, Shady, thanks for coming on filling in for Fonz this week, man. Tell people where you can find you and what have you been playing.
Hey, not a problem, dealer. To everyone on the show, thank you so much for having me back. I had a blast back when I was on the show. I wasn't for a long time. It was nice to come back on today and talk games with you guys again. We were more than just a weekly get together once a week and shoot the shit. We hung out almost every day and played games together. It was a damn good time. Hopefully,
a little too long sometimes, a little too late.
That's right. Hey, wear yourselves out. But I look forward to getting back into it a little bit more. Hopefully I can come back. Hopefully to all the agents of the Sesh Empire on Twitter that were, enjoying it. I've gotten a lot of messages since leaving the show, wondering what happened, if I'm ever coming back, yada, yada, yada. Leave a like, leave a message after the show, I want my So Shady. Let the boys know you want to see more of myself. I'd love to come back. So thank you again for reaching out.
He's lobbying for himself, chat. You gotta get,
That's right. It was a good time. Thanks for having me back on, and thanks for listening. Anything you gotta do.
Hey, shout out to Enrique, the fraud in the chat. PC, you just got a PC. Calm down, Enrique. You just got a PC. Come down off that pedestal. I swear to God, man. I'm just kidding. But anyway, hey, Colt, man, thanks for joining us once again. Fantastic show. What have you been playing? Where can people find you?
Man, I gotta keep it real. I gotta really thank you for having me on my show.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great. I've been playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint with you. Like I said, fun at times, but oh gosh, come on now.
I got
Grid
killed by a helicopter in this footage, bitch. Dealer
Yeah,
smashed
he
you.
just sat down on me with a fatty helicopter just sitting on my head. I've been playing Grid, which has its moments, but there's just nothing there to that game. No progression, no motivation to keep going and checking off the list, unfortunately. So yeah, that's what I'm playing. And like I said, I'm gonna put a link to the merch. Like I'm a graphic designer, so I tried to make some cool stuff. I thought people would like to wear that's not like my funny looking face on a t-shirt, but if you like that sort of thing, that's there too. So I'm gonna put that in the chat right now. Yeah, thanks for everything, guys.
Hey, Jabril, or fun. Not Jabril. Oh, it is Jabril. Yeah, he has a super chat responding to you.
Oh, he said, "What good fight?" I said, the good fight. Like, hey, it's better than your console. My dad could beat up your dad. That fight. He said, "I got a high-end PC for power. I do as well. I don't know if the next Xbox is stronger than the PS5 or vice versa. Thanks for misinterpreting my point."
Yeah, Jabril, we all remember you, Jabril, with Xbox, Scorpio, PS4 Pro. We know that you're a Sony fan, but we love you, brother.
Well, yeah. Like I said, Jabril and I talk. Jabril messages me all the time. We talk. He's cool. He's always super respectful. He always just wants to get down to the actual points and the facts, and I appreciate people like that. He's a good dude.
Yeah,
at the end
of the day, PC guys should want consoles that have more power because that kind of trickles up in a way. So just not a big deal. Again, D-Batch, brother, what have you been playing? Where can people find you?
I've been getting through the backlog of Sony games. So I've been playing Horizon. I'm trying to get through Days Gone. I just got to finish that up a little bit. I want to trade those games in. I just want to answer Immortal's question here in the chat. He said Microsoft and Sony lose money on every console sold. They earn money back on software. It's been like this since the 360 generation. Actually, this generation, both consoles made money when they were sold.
Tiny bit of money, yeah.
Yeah, so it's still not a loss. Yeah, you guys can catch me on Twitter at D_batch, and of course on YouTube at DBatch. Watch my latest video on the CPU that was sort of semi-confirmed for the PlayStation 5, and check out my thoughts on it. Thanks.
Hey, Wilmy Hood.
Good to have you back, Shady.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve.
Sorry, Wilmy Hood dropped a super chat just to bitch smack the fuck out of everybody. He's like, here, fuck you. He dropped a $100 super chat. And you know what? This is the truth right here. He says, I saved this by subscribing to Game Pass. Absolute facts. Like, if you just play Gears of War 5 and you plan on playing the Outer Worlds, you saved more than $100. So, again, Wilmy, thank you so much, man. Dude's always dropping crazy support for this community. Again, I'll say it again. His show is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. He moved it from Mondays to Wednesdays. Not sure for how long, but tune in and subscribe to Wilmy Hood there. He's also a moderator on this channel. So
Tomorrow night,
Wednesday.
Something to watch. Nice.
Also, again, Wilmy, crazy motherfucker. Thanks. Tim Dog, xCloud Tim Dog. What have you been playing, bud? And where can people find you?
I've been playing a lot of NBA 2K20. I think it's a pretty good game. I finished Man of Medan. I would recommend it on a sale. It's pretty good graphics on the game. It's pretty cool. Doesn't run the best. But I would recommend it if you can get it on sale. It's a pretty good experience if you just like to relax or you like Until Dawn, those type of games. Other than that, you can find me on Twitter at xCloudTimDog. You could also find me here every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Thanks to the almost 900 people that came down, and thanks to the Mr. Great So Shady. Happy to see him. He's one of the good outspoken guys in the community.
Hey, thanks, Tim. I was NBA 2K. My God, I mean, I hear there's a little bit of basketball in that casino game. Am I right or what?
Yeah, it definitely is. They're horrible with that.
They're getting savage with that monetization.
Oh,
these
it's a
days.
casino game.
Oh, horrendous.
I enjoyed doing the show with you, man. It was good.
By the way, Wilmy does say that it'll be on Wednesdays from now on. So be sure and check that out tomorrow. I'm sure I'll share it on Twitter. Again, Zachary87, what have you been playing? Where can people find you?
Okay, why the fuck did you say it like that?
Because you remind me of a fucking nerd. No.
Okay, Jesus Christ.
Where can people find? What have you been playing, brother?
He was angry.
I know you got a friend that you're waiting to play Breakpoint with a friend. Maybe not after this horrible gameplay, but I know you're kind of wanting to get into that. But what have you been playing, man?
I've been playing Uncharted. I want to beat it literally this. I'm just gonna play it tonight a shit ton, and I'm gonna play it tomorrow. I'm gonna try to get through that game. I've been playing Apex Legends. There's a new Halloween event that looks cool. Haven't played that yet today. Yeah, it's pretty much it. And then I want to play Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I got it a few days ago through my GameShare partner, and he's a fuckface and just doesn't have time to play apparently because he's playing WoW. So I want to kick him in the throat.
So translation, you ain't been playing shit. All right.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so thanks for having me on your show, Colt. It means a lot to me. You're an awesome person. Yeah, and chat, you guys are awesome. And honestly, this show is nothing without you guys. On like the whole chat, like the whole time you guys were on fire, keeping things going, keeping us energized.
How many were
Shady,
on tonight, guys?
It was like almost 900 people. It was awesome. Or maybe
I thought you were about to say the show's nothing without you, Shady. I was like, oh, Zachary,
Yeah,
you're too
no,
much.
Shady,
Shady's like, what?
Yeah, thanks for being on, Shady.
Yeah, Shady. And Shady, it's good to have you on again, brother.
I loved it, man.
Miss you, man, and you're a good guy, you know.
It was good times.
You play games crazy in the main menu, and that's all I got to say.
Broke Republic Commando last night for an hour. It was brilliant.
You should just start with your YouTube channel, man. Just review main menu music and features.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
The HDR in Spider-Man PS4's main menu is fucking fantastic. You just go into detail about
him.
No, Shady plays games for sure. He's got the gamer score to play.
Yeah, we just give him shit, man. He's awesome. But yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter at Zalker87, YouTube Zalker87. Just brought out a video today talking about all the details of the rumored Fable game from Playground Games, and on Mixer, you guys can find me Zalker87. I try to play at least 3 to 4 times a week and build a nice community there. Everybody's been pretty fucking supportive. So thank you, everybody.
Yes. Yeah, great show, chat. Thank you again so much. See, just listening to us do some outros, 650, man. I mean, again, these are like the hardcore guys that support what we do, and that wouldn't be what it is without you. Again, it's great. I sound like fucking corny as fuck right now, but again, thank you guys so much. So we've got gameplay. Got some overlays coming, some really good overlays coming from Sean Labrie. We've also got a patron scroll thing that I'm going to fit in there, make that work, figure that out for all the patrons, and we are going to be making some changes like that, improving the quality even more. I have been playing Grid, which I'm about 20 hours in on that. If you haven't checked out Randolph Thor's review, check it out. I largely agree with that. Might bump it up a point or two, but yeah, I mean, he covers a lot of good stuff in that game. He's already pretty much 100%ed it. Also, Breakpoint here, trying to get used to this dog shit camera right now, as you see. Yeah, this game just takes a little bit of time to get used to, but playing it a little bit more, we might get a little more proficient. And I heard you can lock the camera to one shoulder or the other as well, right, Colt? So
I did that. I did that. It helped.
Well, you know it's at least going to take an hour because holy shit, this video.
Yeah, this video's it is okay. It is what it is. I had to give my thoughts on it. I was like,
well, I mean, we were doing that on purpose, right? I mean,
some of it, yeah, was some stupid shit, but yeah, I mean, largely it's just getting used to the controls. I got my controls mixed up as well, but
I mean, Dealer and I said, let's play this game for an hour with the TV off, and there's the footage.
But again, I want to thank everyone who's check out the link down there. Buy yourself a shirt, a cup, whatever, a flashlight. It was an RDX flashlight now. buy something, support the show. We finally got some merch. Check out Colt's merch store. He's down in the background. Hit that like button on your way out. There's a Patreon as well. Updates once every month. Follow everybody on Twitter. Do your thing. We do appreciate it, guys, so much. And we're getting the fuck out of here. Thank you.
You guys are great.
Yo, Womenhood. Damn.
Hella late.
He gave you $99, bro.
He gave you $9. Said he saved this by subscribing to Game Pass.
Where the fuck were you, D?
Yeah, that was like 20
This
minutes ago.
the most talented, acting like he's there when he's not.
I just saw that. I just saw that. Now,
I gave him a shout
I don't
out.
want to say that live.
Again, thanks to everyone checking us out. We are out.
Oh, we're still live. My bad.